6. Man Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is loose. 80 knots, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
No need to wait around for the next 20 seconds there. Look at the sun rising. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. A crowded ramp here at Kathmandu's International Airport. We've got MD11s, we got Airbus I, we got a 747, and is that a DC-10 down at the end, or is that another MD11? I don't know. I think it is another MD11 down there. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Hell of a lineup here on the ramp, isn't it, Diabetic Lad? Look at this juice. This is what I want my sim to look like. Absolutely juice. Speedbird. Hayden J. Robbins, good to see you, my man. Excuse me, gotta clear my throat out here. Got my pumpkin spice latte ready to go. Clipper emoji when? Hey, we'll get a clipper emoji when we get the PMDG 747, all right? Until then, it will live in our memories. Hey Jay, good to see you. Peter DR, Hamish in the house. Atul's here. Steve, a flight to live. Let's see. Al W's in the house. Good to see you, Al. Man, it's been blowing for the last 3 days here. I'm over it, dude. I'm over the wind. Fly USMC. Oorah, good to see you, sir. Let's see who else. Mickey G's in the house. Peter DR, Bomb Tech, Boombala Boombala. McAllen's here. He says my favorite plane. And my biggest disappointment. Man, you know what, McAllen? That sums this bird up just about right. You know, it's I want so much. I want to love this bird so much. Maybe today, maybe after today, you know, I didn't really have a bad taste in my mouth after yesterday's flight. I had a little bit of an empty spot in my soul. So maybe today, maybe after today's flight, it will be a little bit better. We'll see. Looks like this guy's already rolling here at takeoff. Are they going the opposite direction this morning? Oh boy, we're gonna have to take a look at the weather. We got the terrain already starting to peek through as the sun is rising. I'm ready to get this show on the road. You guys know the drill. We're going into Skardu, one of the most challenging, one of the most epic approaches that you can fly in the sim, in my opinion. I mean, the scenery around there is just absolutely incredible. And it's some of the highest terrain in the world, so it kind of makes sense that it's so juiced. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. I think I got an idea. So normally we've got about... we're blocked at 220. We're going to be much shorter than that because we're going to go direct to a certain fix on the way there, and then that's going to really shorten the flight time down. And we're also going to be doing probably like 8.4, but we're going to have a little time in cruise, and I thought it would be interesting that if we took a look at, there's a release, NTSB released the preliminary report of that Frontiers emergency, that A320 that landed in Vegas, or was it 321? I can't remember. I think it was 321. They were in the emergency electrical configuration. A lot going on that flight. I thought it'd be kind of cool if we break down the prelim report, take a look at that when we're up in cruise. I got that ready to go. And then by that time, we need to start prepping for the approach. So, it was the CEO, 321 CEO? Okay. Well, enough is enough. Let's reset the drone cam here. Let's go ahead and get this beautiful bird fired up. Now, this livery, I got to shout out whoever made this Pakistan livery. First off, green is my favorite color. I don't know what's going on with my voice, guys. Need some more coffee. Hold on. Excuse me. The wind's been blowing here in Texas, like sustained 30 for the last 3 days. It's pretty nuts. This livery is absolutely awesome. Green and white, I love those colors, but the dirt on this airplane. I mean, if you love dirty airplanes, this thing looks like it was just taken out of the boneyard, flew through a haboob or two, and we're just going to fire it up here and take it up to Skardu. So it's going to be a juicy flight. MD11, first example of a re-wing for airliners. Did it have the same engines as a DC-10? Scotty 2, I think it had, there was a variant with the same engines, right? But the MD11 has GE and Pratt's. Didn't the DC-10 only have one engine variant? I can't remember. All I know is the DC-10 cockpit is much more juice. But here we go. Let's go ahead and fire this bird up here. We'll go ahead and get the battery switch on. With the battery on, we'll go ahead and turn on the external power.
Autopilot.
And we need to find our way to the floodlights here, juice up the panels, bring the airplane to life. Here she comes. Gotta say, I do enjoy the early morning flights we've been doing out here when we do these Kathmandu things. Look at the seats. Look at the upholstery. Look at this cockpit. See, this cockpit really shines in low light for sure. Absolutely love the look of this.
Traffic, Bhutan 774, airborne passing 6,700, sliding through the 330.
Looks like somebody's already taken off. All right, we're going to send flight plan to FMC. We're going to set payload, air setting payload. Why? No. Don't do this to me. Is it because we need to do options metric? Surely not. Dispatch, set fuel and payload, air setting payload. Why? I think we had this problem before, didn't we? Don't, come on. There we go. Set payload and fuel. There we go. Just another bug, of course. Metric is always a better choice. Negative. Let's go ahead and get this bird fired up, though. We'll get the FMC loaded in here. We'll pull the standby ADI out. We'll go ahead and start the loading process here for GSX as well. So we've got that done. And let's go ahead and get the ADIRs in line. One thing at a time here. Finish our overhead flows. That looks good. No smoking. We will go ahead and turn that on. Seatbelts can stay off. Nav light comes on. Logo lights come on. Everything else can stay off for right now. Going up here, the overhead panel. We're going to skip the lights. We got the Christmas bright dim Christmas tree lights here.
Overspeed.
All right, that looks good. We'll skip the hydraulic test, hydraulic pressure test, but it is simulated. You can watch it. It's kind of cool. We'll stand by on the APU. We'll clear that out. We'll hit the magic barrel ref key, and we will begin boarding process from GSX. They're going to start loading. Attach pushback. I had that. Yeah, let's load up the crew. I had that option enabled where they hook up the tow bar, but I don't like the communication and all that stuff right before we. I don't know. It just seems it's a little out of balance, a little off, out of order. So normally they don't even really talk to you, the ground crew, when they hook up the tow bar. You just feel it. You feel them ramming the nose wheel of the airplane. So I don't like that option. I've turned it off. Fun fact, the GT9 DC-10 have a notch in the engine tail pylon that the CF DC-10s don't have. All MD-11s, regardless of engine, have this tail nacelle notch. Is that the... Are you talking about, like, in here somewhere? Or interesting. Love it, though. Love the sun rising. Everything's looking good. Don't you open the cargo doors? No. No. Everybody, the ground crew handles cargo door. Everybody, they can access that from outside. So... you can see here GSX has opened these all on their own as well. So they've got the doors open. Looks like it is working pretty well, actually, with the MD-11. That's good to see. I do like the details of the lights on the that's kind of cool. On the air stairs here. We'll watch our crew get on board. It's the bump in the inlet area. Oh, really? Oh, you mean like up here, maybe?
Captain, traffic, Clipper 705, pushing stand.
Pylon diameter decreases about a quarter of the way down. Oh, yeah, like this like bulbous part. I don't know, just always looked like an MD-11 to me. It looks awesome. I love the look of the MD-11. I love the look of the DC-10. Cockpit of the DC-10 is definitely better. And I don't like winglets. I'm so over wing. Everything's got winglets now. I'm old school. I want to see straight wings now. DC-10 straight wing. A300. Well, let's see. The A300 had a little winglet thing out there. Eastern T3, what's up, man? Every time I see your name, I want to call you Eastern 777. I don't know why. I feel like there's going to be Eastern T7 or something there. All right, looks like everybody's on board. There are crews on board. Let's go ahead and load up our flight plan. So, flight plan initialization. We're going to go ahead and check this out. Kathmandu to OPSED. We'll initialize the IRS. The flight level. Now, we filed 40. I wonder if we can actually get there. Flight level 400. Oh, never mind. That's wrong. PIA 357 is our flight plan. Call sign. And our flight plan altitude that we filed is flight level 400. I guess we can't get there. Okay. That looks like... That doesn't look right. Is that 400? Tell you what, let's do a step. Let's do 370 and 400. But it's not an even altitude. It's incorrect. Alright, I like that. Next page. Let's go ahead. Block. Takeoff gross. 0 fuel. 350.5. Takeoff gross weight is 406. Let me check with SimBrief here. CG and 0 fuel weight CG. Double checking here with my paper charts. Estimated takeoff is 405, and that's 406, so that checks out. That looks good. We're going to skip the fuel dipstick. I got to read about this. I'm not sure how you actually set this up here. Apparently it's modeled, but I'm not too familiar with that function. All right, now we get to the chart section. I'm going to wager it's going to ask me to re-sign in with Navigraph. Yes, it will. How come we're back to GSX? Because Key 6 decided that he wouldn't watch the stream anymore unless we got GSX back, and he essentially paid for it and said, buy it. So I gotta honor the man's wishes. Honor the man's wishes. All right, code BJ. Nobody take my code here. 96EB. All right. Should work now. Beautiful. VNKT. I really dislike the lagginess. All right, 10.9 page here. Nepal. We've normally taken off a 2-0. Now, if there's... The only reason I would not take off a 2-0 is if we got some crazy wind. I want to use 2-0 because we got a super juice departure. We're going to basically do a 180-degree turn. So let's just do a cheat mode here. Let's do a quick BTAR and see what we've got. I don't think the wind's blowing here. Tavat, 230 at 4. Yeah, so I'm not sure why that guy took off that other direction. We're going to plan initially off of runway 20, and the SID is the Dark 1 Golf to Naran. So Dark 1 Golf to the Naran transition. We'll insert that, and then we'll scroll down all the way here. Drake, Naran, Palpa. So we're not going to fly over a lot of these. We're actually going to go direct to Caglo most likely. And there's a reason for that. We have to, getting into Skardu is we cannot just, we can't just fly directly there and descend into the field. It doesn't work that way. The terrain is too high. So we have to hit those certain fixes, kind of reroute us into the proper valley for the approach. So let me pull up the Dark 1 Golf. I think this is us here. All right. And you can see we're going to be making a 360-degree turn eventually out to Naran. And then we'll probably go direct after dark. We'll set up our own DTO. So that looks good. Now for Skardu, we want to land on the proper runway, and I always forget which one we're supposed to land on. Opsid. Let's search for these charts. I guess I have to close that chart. Enter. This thing is so... Yeah, okay, so it's not even letting me search for it. Let me pull up my own Navigraph chart. Actually, you know what? I don't think there are charts. There aren't charts, that's right. So I need to look here at Navigraph real quick. Because we ought to land on the right side. Going into Opsid, we are going to land on runway 14 right. It's longer and wider. So 14 right is what we're going to put in the box. Now this is interesting. This is similar. Minimum profile. I'm not sure what this is here. Just going to insert that. Maybe like it wants a 3-degree path or something. Now after BIREB, we're also going to put Sierra Delta, which is the Skardu NDB. And that's going to be this one here, frequency 247. So BIREB SD, and then we will be straight visual for the 14 right approach. All right. So that looks good. Perf data. Let's go ahead and go to thrust limits. TO1. I think we'll do a TO1. Are we going to flex today? It's going to be up to y'all. Y'all didn't want to see the TO1 yesterday. I'll tell you what, since you guys have been super lame on the likes, we'll go a 106. We won't go to 113 because this airplane is borderline uncontrollable when you don't have a lot of weight and you're going to 113 and 1. So we'll set up a TO1 at 116.2, no flex, no derate. And then we'll go here and we need to go to, looks like we just aligned. Let's go to takeoff approach numbers. No flex. Outside air temp off the ECAM right now is 20 degrees Celsius. We'll throw you in there. And let's run a calculation. Performance. Runway 20. Get weather information. Get takeoff weight. We're going to do a TO1. Optimum, no anti-ice. Packs on. Calculate. What? Min prof is the lowest altitude it will draw a profile to. Oh. Oh, yeah, prof. I was thinking, like, okay, because it's prof mode in the MD11. Usually set 200 AGL rounded to higher 10 feet. So if we put in, so it's like drawing the approach path. Kind of like in the 777 when it asked us to do it, we put in a 3-degree path. This is just asking us to draw the min prof all the way down. Very cool.
Foxtrot Alpha, runway 20, Kathmandu traffic.
Ooh, we got more passengers showing up here. Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate that. So I'll hopefully I don't forget. I'll come back to that. But let's finish the speeds here. 27, 33, 43. 127, 133, 143. Really? 133, 143. And it was a flaps 28. That seems like a lot of flap. Doesn't it? Doesn't that seem like a lot of flap? Should we do dial a flap 20? Second, what would that change? 27:37:53. I think we're going to do a dial a flap to 20. I like that better. So we're going to go 37:53. Uh-oh, schedule alert. Ooh. Oh, what's today? Oh, it's already past 11, so it doesn't matter. All right. 27:37:53. We're going to do a flap 20 on the dial a flap. So let's come over here. We'll preemptively load that sucker in. Dial a flap to 20. Look at the seat covers on this Pakistani. This is awesome. Look at this. This is pretty nice. All right, so we've got flap 20 is what we're going to use. 27:37:53. That looks a beautiful. Magic Barrel Ref update. Let's go ahead and get the APU loaded up. We'll go ahead and power you on. It's like an instant spool on the APU. Mr. Martini, we're leaving Kathmandu and we're headed over to Skardu. One of my favorite airports, man. Honestly. It's so awesome flying into Skardu. I want those seat covers in my Toyota. Oh, man. Yeah, I still need some work on that sound pack, but all right, power is coming up and available. We'll set our top altitude of, we'll set our initial step climb altitude of 37,000 feet. Hopefully, what's his name comes in here and always yells at us for the altitude. We'll set 370. We'll set runway heading of 200. Nepal Airlines could be our last flight ever. Nah, we're professional Nepalese, man. We've been flying out here for a while. I feel like I feel highly confident in my abilities to fly around the highest terrain in the world now. All right, 200 is set. VCL was 229. So what do we have to do? We got to do that and select 229. And then pull it, I think. 229. 370. Barrel ref is set. Let's go ahead and zoom the range in here. You can see we've got quite a lot of terrain. Well, we still got we're still boarding up here. Let's go ahead and go APU air on. We will remove external power. With external power removed, we'll go over to ground services. Let's disconnect you. Make sure our park brake is set, which it is. And remove the wheel chocks. We are looking good. I want to try something real quick. Does that move? Did that move those needles? Oh, we pressurized brakes. Our brake pressure is not in the green. Nope, emergency power needs to go on armed as well. Emergency power is armed. All right, we're pretty much set up, ready to go. Oh, the sun is rising. Juice. Absolutely love it. All right. I think we're all set up now. Here comes the air. No, you set 250 if VCL is lower. Gosh dang it, McAllen. That's right. Now we'll really be climbing. Looks like that's the last bus of people boarding the aircraft. Yeah, Blackbird. I normally keep it about a standard. It's kind of fun to have to wait a little bit longer when you're flying a wide body. Kind of gives you that sense of immersion that, hey, you know, it takes a while to load these passengers up. Hello, may I see your boarding pass? Do you hear that in the background? 171 and 172. All right, let's set 250. Gotta do this again. All right, 250 is set. 370 is set. We'll do that after we start up. Emergency lights disarmed. Move them to on and then back to arm. Let's go off. Arm. I'm not sure why we're getting a disarm. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Get ready. Prepare for pushback and departure. They're going to close up shop. Flo, welcome to Commercial Pilot. Glad to have you on board. Welcome in, Flo. AJ Fridar, thanks for the $3 super chat, man. The pilot seats stole from the ride-in Turks. The pilot stole seats from the ride-in tuk-tuks. Oh my gosh. Thanks, AJ, for the $3 super chat, man. 7-4 barely cleared it off there. Barely cleared off the end of the runway, looks like. You're flying Nomadic today? Nice, Infian. We need to have that. Do we have a livery for Nomadic? I guess they don't really have a livery. I guess it would be all white. You know what is a cool 7.5 livery that I saw the other day? Was, I saw it in Miami. That Aero, what's that, New Pacific on the 757. That is a clean-looking livery. It's unfortunate that airline is pretty much not going to exist soon. But, clean-looking livery. What is our trim? Stab 5.1. Alright, stab 5.1 is set. Beacon light is on. They're locking gear. Ignition A. Yeah, emergency light switches by the landing. Oh. Thank you. See? I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Yeah, that's right. Emergency power and emergency light switch. There we go. Alright, we are ready for start. Beacon is on. I can't dim the cabin lights, can I, anywhere? They seem like they're always on. We're going to go nose right, tail left.
Release parking brakes.
Let's go ahead and get 22.8. Brakes are released. Clear to push. Kathmandu traffic, Pakistan 357. Pushing back for runway 20. Kathmandu traffic. All right, we'll bring up our tiller cams, our Blackbird control cams. They are ready for engine start. Let's go ahead and start spinning them up. 312. We are all good to go.
Traffic, Fenix 5 Toga, Delta, back.
All right. Start in 3. Here we go.
Kathmandu traffic, Nomadic 311, pushing back for 20 with air control.
A little bit of a wing wobble there. Look at that wing, though, huh? Who loves dirty wings? Dougal McTavish, good morning, sir. Early stream works great for me over here in the gray and wet UK. Well, it is overcast here today in Texas, which is nice. I'm so tired of the sun and the heat. But good evening to you, Mr. Dougal. Joe Plains, Mr. Chicago in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you, dude. How you doing? How's that? You ready for de-icing season, Joe Plains? So, engine started, but still very, just not it, you know? Just not it. Starting 1.
Set parking brakes.
Brakes are set.
Unlocking gear.
Abdilo, I know it, man. I got a 2-day trip coming up Friday, Saturday, and I'm not sure if I'm going to want to do it because I see all the rains moving in. It's my last trip of November. It's my only trip in November. And I don't know if I'm going to do it. But, you know, I love flying around Thanksgiving, so it's kind of sad. I mean, we'll see. The weather doesn't look great, though. I tell you what, if the Jets can win on Thursday night, I'll probably stay home for my trip and stream. If they lose, I'm just going to go to work.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Is FT Sim better for MD11? You know what, Masso? I know there's an FT Sim pack out. I don't know what it sounds like. I feel like I installed it once. Wow. Wow. It doesn't get much closer than that. My goodness. That is some APU sniffing if I've ever seen it. Let's go ahead and start 3. There's a term for that. Oh, word. Vodka, what are you doing today, man? You flying? You working? Flying DC-3 around? Is it even any good anymore, man? Dude, when I wanted that DC-3 to be good. Old school retro Pan Am ops. We are having a second stream today, y'all. I think y'all be interested in that. We're going to be saying goodbye to the fly-by-wire A32NX. So we haven't flown the fly-by-wire 320 in a very long time, but in preparation for the 380 that's releasing tomorrow, allegedly at some point. Hopefully it's somewhat at a normal time so I can fly it. If not, I will have wasted the whole day waiting around for it. Then I'll probably never fly it because it makes me mad. Because the world revolves around me, obviously. But yeah, I'm excited for that 380. I know we said we were going to do Mobile to LA, but that's going to be such a long stream. Can we do something shorter? What about like Mobile, Alabama to like Miami? We'll go south to Miami, you know? Back that APU up. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3 good starts. We will go ahead and turn off the APU air, turn off the APU power switch. Let's come down here. We're going to auto brake TO, arm the speed brakes. We're going to dial a flap position, which should be flaps 20. Yeah, see, you can barely hear that rumble. You know what? The sounds almost seem better today. Maybe not. All right, flaps 20 are set. Let's do a flight control check from window view. I don't know why my light is over here and not working. Hold on. There we go. Let's try that again. There we go. Looks good. I armed them, AJ. You saboteur. See? They're armed. Get out of here. Saboteur me. Alright, nav, prof. We'll hit the, what is it? The auto flight? We have to hit auto flight, right? That's the key again. We'll hit that once we get up there on the runway. Let's go ahead and turn the flood down a little bit. I'm ready. You ready? How do I turn down? What's shining down on my McDo here? I need to turn that one down. There we go. Turn that one down a little bit. Kathmandu traffic. Pakistan 357 taxi runway 20. Alright, seatbelt signs coming on. Brakes off. Taxi light on. Let's go. Godspeed. Kathmandu, here we come. Or Skardu, here we come. Gosh, could you imagine if Boris did MD11 sounds? I've made this mistake of hitting autoflight before lineup. What has happened is my aircraft accidentally got Toga while taxiing because I throttled up too much. Yeah, Mad Dog Lexi. Oh yeah, that's why I never do that with these Boeings. Boeings, MD11, I never arm that stuff till I'm taking the runway. Matter of fact, I think there are some SOPs out there, depending on which airline, they don't even touch it till they're on the runway. For that exact reason. Now we are set up for a beautiful morning departure. We're going to do a little back taxi up there from that guy. Go to Alexandria, Louisiana. That's a short flight. From Mobile to Alexandria, huh? That'll be real short. Dare you to fly 380 to Pero on your first flight. I have no doubt the Pero attempts will be made. I just don't know if it'll be on the first flight. Ooh, Hamish, that's a good point. BFM to Mexico City. I feel like we got to fly in somewhere a little bit spicy with the 380. Like LAX would be cool, but I kind of want to do LAX tonight in the fly-by-wire. I want to do a night. We're doing night ops tonight, so I kind of want to incorporate LA on today's second stream. So I'm not quite sure where I want to take the 380. Mexico City wouldn't be a bad idea. Talk about spicy. If we're gonna high density altitude, can that thing even land up there? I will hold short here for this guy. He's doing his back taxi. Brake set. The Portable Gamer. Thank you for the $11 super chat, man. Appreciate you. Says, how about a divert stream? Ooh, Miami to Boston with some sort of calamity over Georgia. Heavy fuel emergency landing. Ooh, Portable Gamer. Thank you for the $11 super chat. That's actually an interesting idea, my friend. That's an interesting idea. Now, I don't even know, can we dump fuel in the fly-by-wire 380? I see it. All that will have to be determined, because I don't know what's going to be modeled, what's not going to be modeled. That's an interesting one, though. Denver super mid. We're not flying into Denver. Now, Diabetic Lad Bogota might take a 380. MRCO Morocco. What about I don't think I could get in there. Guatemala City, doing that circling approach. Kathmandu traffic, Pakistan 357, back taxi 20. All right, we're going to begin our back taxi. Let's go ahead and get all our lights on. Skibo to, I know that identifier, but I can't think of it. NDDPJ. I can't think of it for some reason. I'll be surprised if it can dump fuels. Has no VNAV or glide slope. What do you mean, Raziem? The 380 doesn't have VNAV? Ooh, Saint Martin would be kind of fun. Yeah, Punta Cana. There we go. Thank you. Saving the beacon hours. Saboteur. It's already on, Gus. Freaking saboteurs in here today. It has VNAV, just not for final lap. Okay, so similar to the 320 then, right? It's got the. It doesn't have. You can do LNAVing, but you can't do an RNAV approach, is what you're saying. Interesting. It flashes on the outside. It's just kind of mid. You see right there. I was wondering. I didn't see it flashing on the engine. I don't know if the beacon flashes on the MD11 engine. We could take the 380 into what's the one south of Abdilo Scenery, Ponce. That would be a pretty cool approach into Ponce, coming over the hill there, basically going VOR or VFR. All right, let me try to focus on this lineup here real quick. You guys stop distracting me. David Go, I'm not actually sure. I thought it looked fast myself, but I'd have to look at some YouTube videos. I really don't know how fast those slats pop out on the MD11. Do a little differential thrusting situation here. Again, using the Blackbird control levers. Gotta love it. Using the 727 levers on the MD11. It's perfect. Oh, we have plenty of room. We had plenty of room. We even undercut that. That's how much room we had. Your sim has inspired me to build AMD. Oh no, AC, thanks for the 24 months of support, my man. Hey, well, hopefully you enjoy it. Like, it's all the grief I give AMD. It's honestly been pretty decent so far, so that's awesome, man. I wouldn't recommend it, though, says Kyle, pretty much. All right, y'all, you guys ready? Y'all super light on the like, so we're not doing a max TO1. We know it sounds bad from the outside, so let's just spool them up. Let's just spool them up from inside, shall we? We'll spool them up 50, and then we'll go Prof is armed, and then we will go all the way up. So here we go. Ready? Yoga's in chat. Let's go. Now, will it capture them, or do I have to actually hit? There we go. TO thrust set. Here it goes. Now, it sounds pretty good from the cockpit. That sounds pretty believable from up front. I do that growling sound. I do like that. All right, here we go. Thrust is set. B1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Fly with. Gosh, this bird is so powerful, man. Alright, nav. Gotta start the turn. .147 seems quite low to be pitching for 147. Okay, there we go, 205. Lower in the nose. Nope, I never spun the camera around, sorry. Oh, that actually looks awesome. Want some stab trim down in there. Get ready for a hard right turn here. Let's go slat speed. Hard right turn. Bank angle check to the right. That's pretty epic looking. That is pretty epic looking. We're holding that slat retraction speed here. We got to come all the way around. It's a tight circle here. Now it just went down to managed speed of 168. I'm assuming that might be for a speed hold or something, or a speed restriction on the flight plan. We're going to intervene that. Let's go ahead and select. Let's just maintain 205. 205 on the pitch is fine. Keep it right under that slat retract speed. Is there a Finnair livery with this yet? Oh, wow. You can't tell me that's not awesome looking. That looks so beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and... I think we got to maintain this, don't we? Let's go 220. Accelerating here.
Bank angle. Bank angle.
Hey Captain, for some reason I am not able to send any membership milestones or gifts. I have been having this issue for 2,3 months now. I also think my messages doesn't appear on the chat as well. Is there any chance you can check my account status in chat?
Alan Sammy, thank you for the bank angle check there. I will have to look, man. I'm not sure what that's all about. I will definitely take a look, my friend. Thank you for the bank angle check, though. I will take a look. Let's scroll in 250k knots now. Pull it. Wow. I love this departure. Actually, it's at the, I think the airport's right there. Right there, yeah, there it is. Last time we saw that guy behind us that took off. Oh, there he is. There's his beacon. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, look, there's the traffic right there. All right, so we're going to redirect ourselves here. Let's go ahead and retract the slats. Continue to accelerate. See, the retraction seems believable. Man, those slats look good. This looks really nice. I do like the look of that. The engine texture looks a little meh. And the back looks a little meh. But the dirt makes all the difference. I love this livery. All right, all the way back around now. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase range and we're going to redirect us. Let's go flight plan direct 915 to get us started. Let's go back to our nav FMS speed. No, it's still holding 205. I don't want to do that. Maintain 250 here. We'll redirect it. 915, direct 2 again. We're looking good now. Kathmandu traffic pack stand 357. We're at a flight level 170. Up to 370. Last call, Kathmandu. Rambo, no, I ran it forward. So instead of like 8 p.m. where everything was just getting dark, I ran it forward to the next day. So technically we're flying in Halloween right now. It's the 31st in the sim. I didn't want to. You can't go to Skardu at night. It's a daytime only approach. Trimmed out here now. Why is my? I'm gonna turn the sim down just a tad. Let's come down here. What is our prof speeds doing here? Performance, econ climb. Why does it want to go back to 205? Do we miss something in the init? Oh. That's why. Maybe that'll change it. Next page. Perf. There we go. Let's do this one. Oh, is there still a 205? It's maybe, yeah, you're right. Maybe it's a 205 not in the flight plan still. That's all right. We're going to fix that anyway because we're not going to all these fixes. We're going to go direct to Caglo, all the way down there. Direct to Caglo. Let's go ahead and clean up our lights. Pakistani Airlines. Smoke them if you got them. Seatbelt signs come off. Alright, Blackbird, we'll see you in a bit, man. We still must have a restriction. Right? Why else would it be holding us at 215 here? It says 310. Managed. I'm going to see if it will take the autopilot with my yoke engaged still. We'll see. It might kick it off here in a minute. Yeah. Autopilot's off. I have control. Press FMS speed twice. There we go. 310. There we go. We'll lower the nose. Thank you. Thank you, Twail. We got it. User air on that one. User air. Yeah, David, are you in the Discord? If you send it to me in the Discord, I'll take a look at it. Oh, these are some beautiful views. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get the autopilot ready to engage. Let me trim her down just a hair more. And I still messed around with my Brunner settings to get the autopilot to work, and it just still won't work with this bird. So I got to disconnect the yoke, and then autofly should engage. Beautiful. Now, it's still interesting because the method that I'm using to get this airplane to work with the yoke it still doesn't work with the Max. Like the iFly Max, I have to completely shut down the Brunner software, which is just, it's very peculiar to me. I don't know why that is. It's the only airplane that I've ever seen in the sim do that. We've had issues with the Brunner on some airplanes where we have to do what I did today, just disconnect the yoke, which is no big deal. I just click it over here on my other monitor. But yeah, kind of peculiar. All right, you linked it, Flight Sim General. David, I will take a look at it, my man. Thanks. Let's monitor the rest of the climb out here. Let's take a look at some juice over the wings. Oh, you guys are really going to see the, you guys are really going to see this livery when the sun gets up. It's going to be juicy. Why are retro livers so much better than the newer ones? Eastern, I don't know why that is, man. But I agree. Retro liveries, almost all of them are better than the new ones. I think because it's gone, aviation in general has just gone from building and just being a, I don't know, like everything is so watered down now. Everything is muted down. Everything is watered down compared to what it used to be. I mean, back in the day, fuel was cheap. They didn't care about efficiency. They just wanted powerful engines. They wanted a man's airplane, you know, a pilot's airplane that could, you just had all the control. Now it's, the further and further we go along in time, everything is more and more towards no pilots and save as much fuel as we can, save as much money as we can. Which, I mean, it makes sense to a certain standpoint, right? Efficiencies, as technology increases, efficiencies increase, but nothing like the good old days, man. The back in my day, Tyson. Reject modernity, embrace tradition. V1 retro all the way. Zachary, I'm right there with you, man. Maybe I should put that on a mug. Well, I'm getting ready. I think we need to do a revamp of the mugs. We'll do a mug revamp, merch revamp. Yeah, put that on a t-shirt. Reject modernity, embrace Toga. Something like that. Bourbon Air Retro. Bourbon Air, so the Bourbon Air Retro, you guys have been asking me about this for a long time. And we kind of started it a little bit, about a year, actually no, a couple years ago now. We started a little bit of the Bourbon Air. We had a livery on the 321 and X-Plane days, and it was good, and then it just kind of faded away. And I know Flight Deck to Sim does. I mean, his alpacas are showing up everywhere, and I think Shaq Oatmeal's got his own little fleet. I've toyed with the idea. I've been toying with it a little bit more. The problem is, I mean, there actually is. You need some key pieces for your own virtual airline, so to speak, because you need liveries for airplanes. You need models for AI traffic, or not AI traffic, for other traffic, etc. Reject flex. Reject flex, embrace Toga. That would be a good one, a tool. Reject the flex, embrace the Toga. You know what? I kind of like that. Full flap sim in the house. I like the real airlines, especially some of the more austere ones. Brings airlines into airline history. What? Let's try this again in English. Full flap. I like the real airlines, especially some of the more austere ones. Bring airline history into the streams. Oh, you mean like instead of doing instead of doing a virtual airline. I agree, and I 100% agree with you, and that's kind of why I've never really went that route. I actually like the idea of almost only retro liveries only, or I mean, we have to fly some modern day liveries, but yes, instead of having my own virtual airline over and over again, I do like the actual airlines and being able to fly retro liveries. I think that's a big plus for me. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. I get a lot of enjoyment, like the ramp we loaded up this morning, dude. I don't know if you saw it. We had the Clipper 7.4, MD11 FedEx. Like, just I love that look. yeah, I totally agree. Full flap. The history of the airlines, I totally agree. You also need people that can fly on Aveo Premium without their accounts getting banned. Well, if Full Flap would stop telling controllers that he's filing under a different account, he wouldn't have any issues. My goodness, dude. My flex is when I use Toga would be a cool t-shirt saying. That's a good one, too. Pan Am Virtual. I think there is a Pan Am Virtual. Isn't there a Dreamerosity? That one would be kind of hard to do even if there wasn't, because you've got the Piedmont Virtual, PVA, which has a lot of the Pan Am routes in there. Now, I have to get I was going to do a PVA flight, but I don't have I downloaded Advanced or Pegasus rather, but I couldn't get it to link to sim because I forgot I needed to install the what's that other thing you got to install to have it talk to the sim? The same thing we used in FSX. Yeah, I forget what it's called. Enjoying the MD11 so far. Sonic Zone. You know what? This flight this morning has been nice. You know, I enjoy this. Oh, look at that view. Come on, y'all. Look at this. Let's go back here. I enjoy the MD11. I just, you know, it's still... It almost seems like it's in the same state as... Not the same state as a 727, but like it's so close to being one of my favorite airplanes in the sim. But because of the few things that it's lacking or that are still being worked on, which is understandable, it's, you know, not completely finished yet, and TFDI has said that, it's just it's close. Because I love the look of that. You can't tell me this does not look amazing. Seeing a 3-holer out there, big old wide body, being able to throw retro liveries on it. I, for one, especially love the fact that we're getting DC-10 liveries on the MD-11. I fully support that. If anybody's a livery creator in the chat or sees this stream, keep making those DC-10 liveries for the MD-11 because I don't think we'll ever see a DC-10 in the sim, and it still looks so awesome. Some of the DC-10 liveries are some of the best out there. FSUIPC, that's it, correct, yeah. Yeah, I got to get that installed so I can get PVA up and running. But yeah, I mean, that's how I feel with the full flap. Do you have the MD-11? Do you have this bird? Oh, that's kind of a cool shot, too. Let me go back. I think, did we already level at 37? Oh my gosh, let's just go to 40, y'all. This airplane is so powerful. I love it. Let's go with the climb thrust 400. Up we go. We're going all the way to 40. Not messing around. Is there a DC-10 being developed? Is there really, Rick? Oh, you're right. The freeware DC-10. You're right. And I've said it before. It looks good. I've been in that Discord since it's been around pretty much. I don't post or anything, but I see every little...
Did some research. It could be that a mod has hidden my account in chat by accident.
Oh, really, Ali? Interesting. Okay. Well, I can't even see your account from here because I can't see you in the chat. I'd have to pull up a different. I'll see if I can get into it here on another tab. But yeah, the Aerodynamics DC-10. It looks great. I just, like I said, for freeware, I'm holding my breath. Check out the World Airways. Critter was nice enough to make a livery for an MD-11. Did a C check on. Really, Matt B. You know what? I have that one downloaded. I actually downloaded the World Airways. Was it the freighter? I have the freighter World Airways. And I almost flew it because I flew into Baltimore my last trip, and there's a World Airways DC-10 on the ramp in Baltimore that the engines are removed from and everything like that. But you can still tell it's a World Airways DC-10. It just looked awesome. Look, we're crushing it to 40. The power on this airplane is so awesome, man. It's like, what is it? Half the weight of a 747 with three of the 4 engines. That's how a buddy of mine that I flew with when I was based in Atlanta, he was at World, or not, excuse me, not World. He was at Western Global, and he was telling. I kept asking him questions about the MD-11. I was like, "So what's it like to actually fly the MD-11?" And he had pretty much nothing bad to say about it. He said that some of the maintenance issues were shoddy, but that's to be expected when you're flying freight, right? Let's go ahead and get a squawk code in here. We forgot to do that. Squawk 2000, altitude reporting on, TARA will put you in above. Cool. And we also need to hit Magic Barrel Ref. 29092 is set. All right, looking good. Look at those wings, though. Look at that dirt. Oh yeah, we're gonna do a full blown cabin tour here. Look at, why is it like, you see that? That must be part of the effect from the engine heat or something. It's kind of trippy. People's Express 727. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know how aerodynamic. How's that going to work when they go to 24 though? You know, they spent all this time and it's like, no disrespect to freeware, because it can be done. The fly-by-wire has showed us that there can be a really high-quality airplane for free. But I would almost rather aerodynamics, like, go payware and get someone to help develop and finish it and pay, and so you have to pay for it, but you know it's going to live up to the expectation. At least you hope so. Kind of like, didn't the 350 or the 220 rather? Didn't I buy the 220 devs, the Synaptic devs or something? So I actually feel better about that than it being a freeware 220, because I think, especially knowing INI's track record, I think they're going to crush that. So when you have a freeware project coming out, it's like, yeah, it's hard for me to get excited. Look at this though. This is why the actual route will take you out south of this terrain here, but I just like flying over the terrain. This is so cool. I saw where FSS said their planes aren't doing well is 24 or in 24. Really? Hey Fred. Yeah, I don't know what to think about 24. I was super excited, you know. I mean, I'm still excited. I think GA stuff is going to be fun out of the gate. It's always kind of fun to do GA stuff, and you don't need a whole lot of simulation for GA airplanes other than just a good flight model, right? Some basic engine stuff, which seems like Microsoft Flight Simulator can do. What, 50 knot headwind here? Jeez. But the whole, you know, oh, I'm going to delete 2020 on day one. I even said that. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so now. I've actually got more concerns after seeing the Tech Alpha, and most of it relies or revolves around internet speed. Like streaming, you're going to be downloading and uploading 100 plus a minute. Like it's going to be quite taxing. I'm very curious to see how this pans out. Very curious to see how this pans out. Which cost index? We're going to jump it up here. I want to see. I think I have 999. Let's go to our perf page here. And Econ max endurance is 7.6. We'll leave it at 8. Let's do a 8.4. Let's do an 8.4 cost index here. We'll juice it up to 8.4. Jeez, 50 knot headwind. Oh, we still got the auto brakes on. Auto brake off. And did we disarm the speed brakes? We did now. All right. Beautiful. Settled in. Settled in for the juice. And then we're going to go over the... I think it'd be kind of cool. I want to read this report to y'all from the Frontier instance. Turn you down. Let's find a better. I mean, let's zoom out a little bit so it's not as loud. Okay, that looks awesome. The sun is reflecting. I can't see the livery. There we go. How long do you think it'll take for add-ons to work in 24? I don't know, man. I'm going to say probably into December at least. The fact that you need a steady 180 is wild for 24, yeah. AJ coming in with another $3 super chat, my man. So there's this new thing like called goals, and I can set goals for like super chats or whatever, set timers. I have ideas for this, for basically for the Airbus. I'm going to set goals, because you know how we always talked about I want to have failures, or you want to see failures, or super chat for a failure. I'm going to start setting up certain streams where I will set goals that if they're met, I'll end up doing certain failures, whether it's, you know, either auto failures or fail this system, fail that system. I like the idea where YouTube's going with that. I think it's going to add for some more interaction. But AJ says 2024 for Microsoft is like 12 to X-Plane 11.5. You know what, AJ? I agree with you, man. I absolutely agree with you. I'm beginning to think that more and more. And I even watched another video last night. I don't know who it was, but I was watching part of a Tech Alpha video, and I was thinking the same thing, dude. I'm like, this is kind of like what 11 was to 12. So it's going to be an interesting release, I think. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of streamers fly 2020 still for a little while. I think so. Matt B coming in with the 5 gifted memberships. Matt B, my man, appreciate you, dude. Thanks for gifting 5 memberships out there. If you pick one up from Matt B, make sure you shout him out. Say thank you. Too kind of you, sir. Team Green, one of us now. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think downloading that much data is a good idea. ISP will cook us. Well, yeah, I know, man. I know. Yeah, and Tom, I went back in the chat there. I agree. We've basically, after 4 years, we've got a nice, stable, everything seems to be working nicely in 2020 now. I'm with you, man. I'm not going to fully go over until I see that we've got a majority, if not all of the airplanes. Because think about it. How many airplanes do we have, airliners, in 2020 that we want to bring to 24? There's not that many, right? It's not like we're going X-Plane 11 to 12. We've got the MD11, 727, all the PMDGs, so 7.3s and triples. That's 4. Fenix, that's 5. What other devs? iFly, 6. Any builds you know is going to work, we'll kind of count them out because they're part of Microsoft now. So we're sitting at 6. What am I missing? Just Flight, 7. That's a 7th dev. Okay. So, I mean, we probably have 10 or so devs that we're waiting for it to switch over. And I don't think I'm going to fully commit until almost all of them are on 2024. But I also think the GA, I might use 24 just for GA because like Full Flap was saying, yeah, when Jeff Faviano did the 172 stream, the airplane bounced on the suspension. Yes, the suspension, it looks like the crosswind handling has at least been improved than it is in 2020. So if we have improvements in the flight dynamics from the ground to 1,000 feet, it's a step in the right direction. And I won't mind sitting and waiting until we get, you know, all of our main devs over to 24. If the Comanche converts, I want the Dukes to convert. I want the Dukes, man. But yeah, a lot of people love the Comanche. Oh no, Blackbird Controls is added again. Blackbird Controls, 10 more memberships to the channel. Blackbird, my man, appreciate all the support, dude. Guys, if you haven't already, you need to check out the Blackbird Controls throttle lineups. He has the 727, which is what I'm using today, the 3 levers, and he also have the 737 levers, all for the Honeycomb Bravo. And I'm making a video right now, guys. I'm actually in the editing process of V1 Christmas list, holiday list, whatever you want to call it, for the holiday season as we get ready. 24 is on the horizon. I'm not sure if I want to buy sceneries and airplanes right now, so now is the time for hardware. And if you have a Honeycomb Bravo, you got to look at Blackbird Controls. Nowhere else. So he's also working on several other variants, I believe, of levers. So make sure you check back. And he's also in the Discord as well. He's got his own Discord set up. So thanks again. Shout out to Blackbird Controls. Thanks for the 10 gifted memberships, man. Honeycomb Charlie pedals. See, I will not be getting any Charlie pedals. My MFG crosswinds have been perfect for the last 5 years. Don't need to mess with them anymore. But yeah, I'm not going to go. The only thing Honeycomb that I like is the Bravo. And unfortunately, it seems like they did have a bit of a quality control issue. And actually, I'm hearing more and more people having issues of their Bravos giving them issues. Knock on wood, mine's been solid. Personally got the Thrustmaster Pendular and never looked back. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about the Thrustmaster Pendular. Look, I'm only going to tell you what I think is good if I've actually tried it. I've never even touched or seen the Thrustmasters in person, but I know a lot of people have high regards to those as well. Have I flown in VR yet? I did. I flew XP's Pimax Crystal Light. It's pretty epic. I moved over to Microsoft from P3D once PMD dropped the 7.3, and that's all. I really flew for 2 years. Didn't care for the first iteration of the Fenix. Well, how about the last iteration of the Phoenix? I think where the Phoenix is now, it's pretty solid, man. Blackbird Control says, y'all make it possible for me to do what I do now. Being able to give back to the community is my pleasure. Thank you all. Hey, thank you, Blackbird. VKBT rudder, top notch. Yes. Yeah, I actually looked into those for my home sim for just helicopter stuff. Ooh, McAllen, you getting a pair of Thrustmasters tomorrow, dude? Nice. Torny says, I hope you're stayed in one piece. I'm on the heavy, long waiting list of getting my Bravo for the last 8 months and no reply from then. Oh, boy. I don't know how that's going to turn out for you. I mean, Team Vodka might have some insider information how that'll turn out for you, but that's... I wouldn't hold my breath, man. And that's where... So this is what we need at the Expo 24. We need force feedback yokes, and we need another type of quadrant. Okay? The Bravo is great, but Honeycomb is pretty much gone. Unless they make some miraculous comeback here. So we need something like the Honeycomb where you can have interchangeable levers, axes, not buttons on reverse, and a smaller unit. We don't need this freaking massive unit for just the throttle quadrant. V1, I did send the email. Oh boy, Team Vodka did send an email. Okay, all right. I'm gonna be hush hush. We'll see. Wouldn't that be something, dude? Do you know if the 42 is developing immersion for the TFT MD11? I don't know, RHG, but now that you tell me, I was looking for that for this stream. I was trying to remember who was the creator for the effects. Parallel 42, that's what it is, right? I don't think they have MD11 particles. I was looking, because if they did, I was going to get it for this flight, because I kind of wanted to enhance the MD11 a little bit. Any green dot today? No green dot. We're going to be going over the NTSB crash here, though. I'm just trying to finish my coffee first. Speaking of, let's come in here. Let's see how much time we got. I guess we can start going over it now. Isn't there like a Prague page here? Yes, there's a Prague page. So we're going to Kaglo. Kaglo is estimated at 2:39 sim time. Time now is 1:23. So let's do it in about another 10 minutes or so. We'll start going over the preliminary report, because I skimmed through the first like page or two, and there's some very interesting things in there that I think would be good discussion. I kind of wanted to save it for the Airbus stream later tonight, but maybe we can re-hit it tonight if people will have any questions about it. But long story short, I mean, those Frontier guys, they were in it thick, and they did a good job. You fly the bus in real life. Did you think the flare characteristics were accurate in the RTM? Is that the first version? Tom, I thought they were better than what we had available at the time. At the time, we had the fly-by-wire, which was 4 years ago in development. Is like, I thought it was okay. Now here's the thing: why are we going up and down so much now? Are we in some turbulence here? Or we're getting some mountain wave activity or something. It never was 100%, and I don't know if you're ever going to get a desktop sim to be 100%. Even the real-world trainers that we use, they're not 100% to the real thing. But I will say that now, the Phoenix that we have now is the closest iteration to the real thing that I've been able to fly on a home PC. Like, it's really good. Is it 100% to the airplane? No. Nothing ever will be 100% to the airplane. But when you combine all the sims and you look at all the things, just the characteristics, especially in a normal condition, some of the single engine stuff is a little iffy. And unfortunately, we have the lightweight variants of the Phoenix, so we don't have the heavyweight variants. It's pretty darn good, man. It's good enough to where I feel fully confident when I fly the Phoenix around for a week on stream and I go fly the real airplane that I'm not going to have any negative muscle memory, because that is a real thing. If you fly the sim a lot and then you go into the real airplane, you might start flaring high or flaring late. It can happen. So what we have now is a really good rendition. Yeah, using a game controller, Tom, you're not going to get that feeling. You're not going to get that feeling. So here's another thing with game controllers, because this comes up from time to time in the Discord, and even full flap sim. He's flying a 737 with the Warthog joystick, which is a good joystick, especially for DCS and fly-by-wire airplanes, and I used it for years. But when you start getting in, when you make the leap from a game controller to a proper peripheral for the airplane you're flying. So for instance, if you're flying a yoke-driven aircraft, to fly that with the TCA Boeing yoke or some force feedback yoke, your level of feeling and relationship from the airplane to your sim, or actually rather from your hardware to the sim, is going to be so different that it's going to be way more enjoyable, man. And that's why I always emphasize as we go in, as the sims are switching, now is the time to get hardware, and I highly recommend upping your simming from a game controller, or maybe you just have a side stick and you fly everything with a side stick. I've did it for decades. But getting a yoke for the yoke-driven airplanes, it's really going to make a difference. Systems-wise, the Tolus better. I haven't flown the Tolus in so long, but I mean, Tolus is pretty good, man. The problem with comparing Tolus and Fenix to, when you want to go in depth with the systems. Okay, so say systems-wise, what does that mean? Well, we got to do some high-level failures to dig into the systems, right? The problem that you face is you have so many variants of Airbus out there where that path of abnormal and systems depth is going to vary depending on what the airframe has installed or does not have installed on it. So, and Fenix actually has a slightly different, they have different guts to their systems than the Fenix does. Not that they're both right or wrong, it's just they're different and they're not the same to each other. So I will say this, I have not run a in-depth procedure on the Fenix, whether it's a hydraulic failure, emergency electrical configuration. I have not run a single in-depth procedure on the Fenix that has led me astray or has led me to something different than my real-world procedures tell me what's going to happen. So like, for instance, when we go through a hydraulic failure in the Fenix, when I'm doing it on the sim in front of you guys, I'm looking at my real world EFB and I'm going through the steps, and it tells me if I press this button, this is what's going to happen. This is where you go next. And it always lines up. Okay. So to say that the Fenix doesn't have good systems is, I don't know where we would get that from. I'm sure you can find errors in both. But I've yet to find one, especially one that's glaring or one that's going to jeopardize the flight. I do like the way that the Tolus does the perf data, though, and you uplink it and everything. It's pretty cool because you uplink it from the McDo, and it's like an ACARS uplink. It's pretty neat. I'm sitting here with my Extreme 3D Pro and sim racing pedals. Diabetic lad, hey, it's. Look, we've all done it. Probably most of us have all done it. I mean, I flew, what was that, the Sidewinder? I had the 3D Pro, but I even had like the force feedback Sidewinder back in the day. That was awesome. The Satec X52, there was one before the X52 I thought that I had. I think it was a Logitech though. You can do it, man. There's nothing saying that you can't do it, and you still can have a lot of fun doing it. There's nothing wrong with using a side stick for a Boeing airplane or a yoke-driven airplane, or vice versa, using well, even then that would be weird, using a yoke for an Airbus. But if you can experience it yoke to yoke, side stick to side stick, it's just a different ball game. Well, I know third contrail uninstall. I know. Ooh, this is like some Latin music. You know what we need? We need Indian music. Wait, is it not Indian? Where are we going? Skardu, Pakistani. Let me search. Is there any Pakistanis music? Let's see here. Just out of curiosity. Pakistani reaction. Here we go. Oh, that's a hot shot right there. Look at that. You can't tell me that's not epic looking. That looks awesome. I don't know what this song is, but it's part of the Pakistani reaction playlist, and we're going to play it. Do you know what it's going to be missing from the 389 release? I don't know. We were talking about that briefly. It looks like VNAV, as far as VNAV on approaches, is not going to be modeled. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We're going to find out tomorrow. 7 hours. Well, I don't know. Does anybody know what time approximately they're going to release it? CH rudders. Dude, the CH rudder. And I had a CH yoke, Kyle. I'll tell you what. My CH products lasted forever. I only replaced them because I wanted something new. I don't think my CH stuff ever broke. I think I just replaced it because I wanted something new, and I got a Satek yoke, and then I broke the Satek yoke trying to do the no spring mod or whatever, where you had to go in and adjust the rubber bands or something, and I broke it. Cabin is not going to be great, I suppose. Well, with the size of the cabin, I'm not surprised. You know what we need to do? Hold on real quick. I had the settings turned down a little bit because we were flying in some dense areas yesterday. I'm going to juice these back up here. Let's go up to here. Let's run you back up to like 310. The MD11 is pretty heavy on performance for me, but I think out here in the mountains of Skardu we can get away with running that up into 300s. No timeline yet. So that's the other thing. The infrastructure. The infrastructure of the installer, is it going to crash? Are we going to have issues? I'm not sure, man. I am not sure. It does not have VNAV as far as I am aware, flight level. Scotty 2, yeah, we're going to fly it tomorrow. Here's the thing, though. If it doesn't come out at a decent hour, I don't know if I'm going to wait around all day. What are the winds tomorrow? Because I need to get out. I gotta go pre-fish for a tournament coming up. Tomorrow's my last day that I have an opportunity to. I hope they release it at a decent hour. Server will struggle for. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Whenever they release it, I guarantee you, the servers are gonna bog down for another couple hours. So. Maybe, I'll tell you what, if we can't, how about this, y'all? If we can't stream it, maybe we should just go watch and critique people. Maybe we load into Dubai or somewhere and just do a little plane spotting takeoff cam. But I don't even know if there's a 380 AI traffic, is there? Do we have a 380 traffic model? Plane spotting, yeah. Peanut Gallery plane spotting. Where are we going to go? I guess we go to Toulouse or Dubai. Oh, that's right. Spoozy corrected me. Yeah, so it has VNAV, just not on final lap. So final lap mode, that's the same as our 3 fly-by-wire 320. AIG there is. And FSLTL. Okay, well, I've got FSLTL now, so I should be on there. Don't look, you'll see my 1,400 foot per minute landing at Dubai. Yeah, it's going to be a cluster. Isn't there a nice scenery for Dubai, too? Yeah, the main fly-by-wire guys are Europe-based, yeah. One thing I really like about the Microsoft UI is the scroll wheel to adjust sliders. It's so nice for precise adjustments. True, but I also hate the majority of the rest of their UI. Their UI is based upon game controllers. It drives me nuts. Select it, like X-Plane still has... X-Plane has a better UI, and DCS has the best style of UI, where you can save profiles, load from a profile, copy from a profile. Automatically selects the profile when you load up that airplane. Remember in FSX you could lock onto other live traffic? Yep. Yep, I remember that crashed my computer. I used to have so many CTDs because I would accidentally hit the traffic button, and it would slew me to the nearest traffic, which could be, I don't know, a couple 100 miles away if I didn't have it on very high. And then loading all the terrain in between, it would just crash. Tom, as of now, yes. Yes. And it's looking better. Did they do modeling work on this update, Tom? I know they're in the process of doing update work on the model. The sounds, I will say, the sounds from the cockpit were good. They were pretty decent. I just think we need more of that oomph from the outside view. We need some more volume level from the engine view. Bring the volume levels up in the different areas of the plane. But I'll be honest, I'm just thankful that they got rid of the standby attitude indicator sound from the aft cabin. Best part about X-Plane's control bindings is being able to assign same bindings to different aircraft. Yep, Blackbird, absolutely, man. Yeah, Fly to Live. When I saw the 2024 UI, I thought it looked worse than what we have here. And if there's no magic barrel ref key, I'm not buying. Not buying. Have I tried Flight Sim Force Feedback? Kasaba, I haven't. I should send those. I sent them an email. I'm pretty sure I did. I sent those guys an email. Never heard anything back from them. I would be very interested, though, because I really want force feedback to become mainstream in the sim because it is that much of a game changer. We know the technology is out there with sim racing. So, and Moza's on it already with their side stick. I think by this time next year, Moza's going to be probably a king of force feedback in the sim if they keep going the way they're going. But we really need a yoke to be announced from Moza. That's what we need. Yeah, it's Flight Sim, F-L-I-T-E Sim, Grant. It's another company. The only thing stopped me from getting force feedback is my wallet. And I would say right now, hang tight. Well, don't get the Brunner, because as much as I enjoy my Brunner, I can't recommend it for the price because half the airplanes I fly it with, I have issues. Now, that said, do I feel like that I overpaid? No, because the amount of enjoyment that I get from my Brunner, it's worth it. But for that price point, I shouldn't have to disconnect it for certain airplanes. It's a lack of support is what it is. The user interface for CLS to sim and the lack of support for the simulator just don't live up to the price point. Whereas I look at my Moza, and now I use that pretty much exclusively for flying the Airbus, but it does so much more than that. And seeing how Moza has been updating it from day one that I got it, updating the software, I know that they're actively working and improving their back end of the force feedback. So all the software and the user interface, that's going to be key to having a good force feedback yoke in the future. Yeah, for $1,400 a tool, I should be able to work with every airplane and have up-to-the-minute support and have all the latest and greatest features and have a really speedy, snappy user interface for binding. Don't have any of that. Promise you'll do this approach in the 380. Well, you know what we could do? We could just go Skardu back to Pero in the 380 on day one. Isn't now I didn't read it, but somebody said in Discord, is there is VATSIM limiting airports where you can fly the 380 into? Like if it's not an approved 380 airport, you can't fly it there? I mean, we flew the 727 into a lot of airports that it was not approved to fly into. I'll contact them on your behalf. Maybe they'll send you one. It's a very good but needs good software. Very long yoke travel and strong forces. Trimming is game changer with force feedback yoke. Yes, Sabakiss, exactly. Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, shout them out for me. And if you got my email on the about page of the channel if you need it. But yes, trimming, being able to trim your yoke is 100% game changing. 100%. That's Pero turns in the 380 would be wild. Not limiting, just mentioning people will do whatever they want. Oh, yeah, they will do whatever they want. That's for sure. Innsbruck. Fly the 380 into Innsbruck and get banned. Oh, my gosh. I want a refund from VATSIM if I can't fly the A380 into Aspen. Well, good thing it's free. 380 in Aspen, that's not going to happen. You won't be able to stop. There's no way you'll be able to stop a 380 in Aspen. Unless you are 100% empty, I don't think you'd be able to stop it. I don't even think the mains would fit on the runway. That's the problem. That's why I won't be on VATSIM until 2 weeks after. I hear you, Dougal. I hear you. VATSIM has put out something on 380 asking people to use it only into airports they're actually flying to. Huh. Challenge accepted. Right. Whoa. It's a good beat, but it's got lyrics. It sounds Italian instead of Pakistani. All right. Let's see where we at here. Ooh. Bungie 46. All right, I think we should do it. Let's go ahead and let's start reading this report. Where should we do it from? Outside view? I was kind of vibing from the outside view. I'm gonna move the camera though because I'm gonna put it up on the left side of the screen. Ooh, that might be perfect right there. Right there. Now let's pause you for a minute. Flying Kitties. The name of that song is called Flying Kitties. Interesting. Asking and controlling are not mutually exclusive. That's going to be an interesting day tomorrow, y'all. It's going to be a very interesting day. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, let's look at this. Do you prefer the 737 controls or the Throttletek 737 controls better? Two different things, Frank. Completely two different things. The Throttletek is a replica Quadrant. So you're getting start levers, flaps, spoilers, parking brake, etc. It's a totally different ball game. There's actually, and there's longer throw on the Throttletek because the Throttletek it's got the full range of travel because it's a replica Quadrant. Now, if you have the Bravo and you want the 737 levers, then the Blackbird controls are going to be the best ones on the market because you're going to get the most precise control with the taller 1-to-1, basically 1-to-1 ratio levers of the 7.3 levers from Blackbird on the Bravo. Now, the Bravo is still limited in two aspects. Its range of motion is fixed, obviously, and the reversers on the Bravo are push buttons. There's no way around that. So, you know, there's no way around getting reverse axes on the Bravo, which I don't know why Honeycomb did that. That's really unfortunate. I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks of the Bravo is the fact that they don't have axes for reverse. But yeah, and like Blackbird said, they could put two different price points. You're looking at 100 versus 600, 700, 800, somewhere in there with shipping. So two different markets, two different price points. All right, I wanted to go through this here real quick. So if you guys saw the Frontier 321, so it was a 321 CEO, landed in Vegas. They had a brake fire. There was some drama about it because the fire crews parked in front of the doors where the slides would be for the evacuation, which I think is, I wonder if that's going to be mentioned in here, but I thought that was interesting. Going from fire to emergency evacuation can happen in a blink of an eye, and the fact that they would not have been able to evacuate the way the fire crew responded is interesting to me. But basically, this flight here, they had fumes in the cockpit. Now, one of the biggest or one of the most concerning failures, not even a failure, one of the most concerning things that can happen to an airline pilot is a fire on board. Because if you lose an engine, you still got another engine, you can fly just fine. If you have hydraulic degradation, you still have other hydraulic systems, you're fine to fly. A fire is really the only wild card that can literally, one, consume you or the airplane to a point where it is not flyable. Like it's almost guaranteed. If you have an untapped fire and it just gets to run rampant, it's going to devour the whole airplane and render you dead, essentially. So I think there's there's a stat. When fire is detected, you have less than, I want to say it's like 12 minutes or something that you need to be on the ground, or 13 minutes, something like that. That's your general time that you have before it gets out of control. So it's a very, very serious issue to have fumes or smoke in the cockpit and a subsequent fire. So let's see how this crew did here. There's some things we'll get into. So a history of the flight. According to the first officer, who was a pilot flying in cruise at flight level 290, just prior to top of descent, the cabin crew advised the flight deck of an odor in the forward section of the airplane. The cabin crew described the odor as chemical smell that was difficult to identify, and they were unable to determine its source. So there have been multiple discussions about fumes on the Airbus, and I've talked about them, where there is some odors that smell like mildew or dirty socks. That's oil leaking into the air conditioning system and being passed out throughout the cabin, which is extremely toxic. And then, of course, there's fire. Now, there are other fumes, or there are other smells, rather, that you're going to get on an airplane. Sometimes when you're flying super dry, high altitude, and then you're descending into the ozone, or you're coming through the ozone layer, you can smell it. Going through clouds or heavy precipitation, that's just the moisture. You can smell the moisture in the air going through the packs, and it gives a different smell. Sometimes it smells dusty. I don't know why that is. Is like wiping the dust off and sending. I don't know why that happens, but there are different odors that you smell on an airplane. But there are a handful or a select few that are extremely dangerous. When they describe it as a chemical, that's an interesting one, because I can't really. When I hear chemical, I think of fumes in the cockpit from like an oil leak, right? And that can be an issue, but that doesn't necessarily mean a fire. So shortly thereafter, the captain and first officer detected an odor in the cockpit, which they initially described as chemical and acrid in nature or mildew-like. So acrid in nature, to me, that signals like electrical. If you've ever heard electrical, or if you've ever smelled an electrical fire, if you smelled electric tape burning or anything like that, you know what it smells like, and it's pretty hard to miss, and it's very concerning. So I think they've kind of onto it here. The flight crew stated the odor became increasingly pungent and evolved to smell like burning rubber and or petroleum products such as plastic. So obviously something at this point is definitely burning, and once you can identify that it's not just an odor from the air cycle kits or the packs, and it's actually something burning, that's a big problem, and you've got to immediately take action, which they did here. So the flight crew, first thing you do, memory item, don the oxygen mask, right? If you guys go out up front, no one's going to save the airplane. So first and foremost, got to get the oxygen mask on. Captain began the smoke fumes avionics smoke checklist from the QRH. Believe it or not, there's actually 3 different checklists that you can run for fumes or smoke in the airplane. So, and once you begin running one of the checklists, it can direct you to another checklist if you are going down the wrong checklist. So it's not just as simple as, oh, let's do the smoke of the cockpit checklist. No, there's actually several different ones you have to look for. And while you follow the checklist, you got to make sure you're going the right direction. Following the checklist, the flight crew noted that there was no visible smoke in the cockpit and confirmed with the cabin crew that there was no visible smoke in the cockpit, but the odor persisted. So this is a big one. Whenever you have a fumes on an airplane and you're smelling something, you've got to try to find where it's coming from. Now, smoke is going to be an indicator that you can hopefully easily identify where it's coming from. So if it's coming either from a lavatory bin or waste basket, maybe someone dropped a cigarette in there or a match, which you shouldn't be smoking on an airplane anyway, right? But if you can find where it's coming from, you can fight it a little bit easier, right? You can put on your PBE, which is your portable oxygen mask. You can remove panels. Got to extinguish the fire if you can. But if you can't see the smoke, you still have an unknown source, but you know there's an odor. They proceeded through the QRH checklist. The first officer noted aircraft systems began to degrade. which included the unavailability of autopilot and auto throttles. Now, this is an interesting thing here because we don't know if this is the, what is the not the cone of confusion, but black hole effect. When you're under stress, your view in front of you gets smaller and smaller because you're getting stressed out. Are the systems degrading because the captain is running the smoke fumes avionics smoke checklist, or are they degrading because the fire is actually burning through systems in the airplane, which would be the worst scenario. He recalled that it was unclear if the degradations were the result of damage to equipment from the possible fire or a result of the isolation due to the checklist that they're running. Tunnel vision, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Yes. And so that's exactly what they're mentioning here. Now, I don't know what happened. Maybe it tells us in the rest of this prelim report, or maybe they'll find it out. But it sounds to me initially that because they've lost auto throttle and autopilot, it sounds like the captain is running the checklist for the smoke fumes and he's isolating systems. So the first thing you have to do is isolate systems to see if you can get the smoke smell to stop. That's what that checklist does. All of the smoke fumes procedure checklists are essentially doing that. You're isolating certain systems to try to isolate where the source of the fire is coming from. Now, we still don't know if it's clear which one it is here, but I'm assuming it was the latter, where he's so focused in on what's going on. They're under the mask. They're stressed out. It's hard to communicate under the mask, hard to talk to ATC under the mask. That maybe that's part of the checklist. Captain recalled the QRH advised to consider the electrical emergency configuration. We actually ran this on the Fenix. And we're going to run it again because it's a great checklist to run. It's very in-depth. It's a stressful thing, and we don't do it enough. I believe as pilots, we don't run these checklists enough in training. But I'm going to run it again here on the sim because there's so much that it entails, and we did it one time in the Fenix, and it was great. The emergency electrical config, think of it as the rat's nest. Okay, you're going to have one little nest of primary systems. That's it. You're going to be able to fly the airplane, and they're going to be able to talk to ATC. That's it. Nothing else. So it is kind of like the last resort. You know, when your body gets hypothermic, right? And it starts shutting off blood flow to your extremities because it's protecting the heart and the vital organs. Same exact thing with the electrical emergency configuration. Airplane will fly fine, but you are down to the absolute minimum systems. If the smoke fumes were the greatest threat and or if the source of the smoke fumes could not be determined, that's procedure 1. Yes, because he was unable to determine the source of the odor, the captain confirmed with the first officer, elected to perform the electric emergency config procedure. This to me is a good call. You have no idea where the fumes are coming from. You guarantee you are smelling something. It's not just a fluke. Okay, someone didn't just pass gas. You've got something going on here. Why not just go to the safest configuration with the electrical emergency config? Now, you can Monday morning quarterback this all you want, especially after they find out where the source of the fire was or where the source of the odor was, etc., etc. But this is, in my opinion, still a good call. He's going right to the source. He says, we got to get this. We got to isolate everything until we can figure out what's going on here. Both acknowledged procedure would deploy the ram air turbine. As a result, the display screen's radio transponder stopped functioning on the first officer's side, and the first officer transferred airplane control to the captain when transitioned, and then transitioned to the transponder to the number 1 position. So, emergency electrical config. Captain's flying. They're going to be flying off the ISIS too, most likely. Actually, no, that's the Embraer. So, makes no sense for the first officer to fly now, right? In the electrical emergency configuration, hand over controls to the captain. Now they got to get the transponder to the number 1 position. At 1501, as designed, when the electrical emergency configuration is established, the flight data recorder power is lost. So so we lose that, right? When they, again, we're talking about the extremities, hypothermia. We're getting rid of any possible other systems that could be affected, could be the source of the fire. You got to think about, in modern Airbus and modern Boeing and modern airplanes that we have today, everything is fire resistant, from the carpets that go in there to the upholstery. Every one of them has the insulation. They are not necessarily fireproof, but they are resistant to fire burning them up. Now, they still can burn up, absolutely, but if you can eliminate the source of the fire, The idea behind it is maybe it'll stop burning, maybe it'll burn itself out, maybe it'll be isolated, right? So it's kind of the idea of getting rid of all the power to everything else. When the radios are with the radios active only on the captain's side, the crew experienced some difficulty transmitting to air traffic control. Now, this is part of the emergency electric config, right? Only the captain's radio, number one, is going to work. The pilot using the radios, the first officer now, it makes it a little bit more challenging because he's got to use the other radio panel to communicate to air traffic control. But they started using the ident on the number one transponder. So if you heard the tapes on this, this is great. The air traffic controller said you can acknowledge with an ident. So instead of trying to transmit to ATC through the mask, and without getting into too much detail right now because we don't have all the time in the world, but the mask, talking on the mask with the intercom and the speakers and then talking to ATC, it can be very difficult for ATC to hear what you're saying. It can be difficult to hear each other talk when you're in the configuration to talk to ATC. So there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes on just the basics of the basis of communication when you're in this configuration. So when the controller said just use the ident to respond, phenomenal work by the controller. Takes a whole lot of workload and stress off of the crew because all they got to do is hit one button and it's an acknowledgement to the instruction from ATC. Crew described their workload as high and the environment as increasingly hectic and stressful. Absolutely. They got an unknown smell. They're under the mask. They're descending. Thank goodness it's day VFR, but they still have terrain below them, right? Going into Vegas. Captain opted to focus on landing the airplane and relied on outside visual references during the approach. Fly the airplane. How many times do we say it on the channel here when everything goes bad? Fly the airplane. You got to fly the airplane. They did a great job here. First officer acknowledged ATC communications, confirmed, reiterated them with the captain while calling out airspeeds and altitudes and configuration information. During this time, the first officer noted the captain's PFD had limited data represented. Captain recalled they used speeds placarded on the instrument panel when configuring the airplane because the speed symbols on the PFD airspeed indicator were not present. So I don't know if this is because... well, we'd have to, man, we should fly the Fenix because we can go into the emergency electrical configuration and figure this out. I'm pretty sure the ADRs are off on his side, so he can't, they're not getting that speed data. Now, you could use, if equipped, the backup speed scale, which is just an AOA indicator there to make things easier. I don't know if it's installed on this aircraft or not, but we've shown that on stream before, the backup speed scale. But great job. Going to what's in front of them, use the tools in front of you. Basic flying. Look outside, use the placarded speeds on your placards, and you're going to still fly, right? Don't get overwhelmed by nuances in what's going on and lose sight of the big picture. You got to keep the big picture in mind. According to the captain, when the plane was about 1,000 feet above the field elevation, he was a little high for the stabilized approach criteria. However, by 500 AFE, it was within the criteria and the descent was no more than 900 feet per minute. So 321 coming down Vegas, you're going to be right in that 700 to 800 foot per minute mark anyway. For the manner approach, captain recalled the 50-foot radar terminal alert occurred as the plane crossed the runway of the threshold. So obviously, you're in a emergency situation. I'm checking my time here real quick. You're in an emergency situation. Oh, no, I didn't want to reset drone cam. Dang it. Look at the terrain, though, so nice. Oh, we're still looking good. 42. Yeah, we got 42, but we're looking good. So, back where was I? Stable approach criteria. When you are on fire or potentially on fire, the last thing that you're really going to worry about is if you're within the 1,000-foot stable criteria going into Vegas. You and your first officer, you most likely know that if the situation is as bad as it can be, you may only have one attempt at landing, period. Let's go back to Swiss Air. One was a Swiss 111, crashed out over the water at Halifax. They were going to land. They decided not to land. They're going to dump fuel because they were overweight. They ended up burning up. So even though you want to be stable at 1,000 and you can't crash the airplane by being unstable, you have to know that you may only have one attempt at landing. So don't mess it up, right? Don't mess it up. Don't get distracted by the little semantics. Fly the airplane just like they did. Looking outside, placarded speeds. 500 feet, okay, I missed the 1,000-foot window. 500 feet were stable, good. Back in when I started flying, 500 feet stable was for pretty much standard for everybody. So he's even stable by 500, and as long as and here's the thing, yeah, I don't care if you're stable at 500 either. Are you 50 feet over the numbers? Cool. Are you 100 feet over the numbers? Cool. You've got 10,000 foot plus runway to land on. You are in a 321. You don't want to go off the end of the runway and crash, right? Even though, you are possibly on fire, but he's totally within his right here to continue the landing. Great job, at least getting her down 50 feet there over the threshold and touchdown. AJ, thanks for the $3 super chat. Glad it wasn't the flight Tampa 26 left. Oh my word. Yes, good thing they weren't landing at the flight Tampa Vegas, because they may not have happened. I refuse to try to fix that on my own. That is the biggest POS scenery that I own. I don't know why they are the only developer in the history of developers to have that issue with the glide slope. Fix it, fly Tampa, fix it. I'm right there with you, AJ. Man, oh man. Do it as quickly as you can without doing it twice. Exactly, Wingnut says. That's a great way to put it. So at 1,500 feet, the plane touched down, or at 1,510 rather, the plane touched down on 26 left. Captain moved the thrust levers to full reverse, applied braking. He recalled that after touchdown, the airplane had no auto brakes and felt like no anti-skid. Let's revert back to the avionics smoke fire real quick. So in that checklist, it tells you when you revert to the emergency electrical configuration. Now, I'm not sure if their checklist is different. I'm not sure if they were running a slightly different checklist, but I know we have a checklist that says, prior to touchdown, press, I forget what the button is, to get out of the emergency electrical configuration. If you deem it safe to do so, maybe the fumes have died down a little bit. That way you have some more normal things for landing. Is that a requirement? No. If I put myself in this guy's shoes and everything seems to be stable, honestly, the last thing I'm going to do is revert what I did just to make sure I have, to see if I have auto brakes or anti-skid or I can see my speed on the speed tape. I'm probably not going to revert back. If I'm still flying, the airplane is still doing airplane things, just put it on the ground at this point. But it's important to note that that is in the checklist. It does say that if you put it into the emergency electrical config prior to touchdown, remove it. That way you have more information available to you. Now, maybe this would be more applicable if you were flying somewhere that you had no other choice to land but someplace like, God forbid, Skardu, or someplace where you were going in. The only option you had to land was a very challenging, non-standard airport and you needed some more information. Then maybe you consider reverting back to the non-emergency electrical configuration prior to touchdown. Its situations are situational. Another one of my favorite sayings, right? But I'm right there with this guy. It's fine right now. Just put it on the ground. Witness located 300 feet to the left of the airplane. Reported hearing two loud bangs in quick successions as the tires exploded. So remember, if you have no anti-skid and no auto brakes, he's probably standing. I'm sure his adrenaline is pumping. And I can probably guarantee you the dude is probably standing on those brake pedals harder than he may actually think, because he probably doesn't even feel his legs because the adrenaline is pumping and he's just trying to get the airplane stopped. So there is a potential, obviously, to smoke the brakes. Again, last thing I'm worried about is blowing tires on touchdown if I'm on fire. So the captain reported during the rollout he was looking outside to maintain runway centerline, did not note the level of brake pressure that he was applying. Okay, the airplane eventually started to veer off the centerline as the airplane slowed. That could be due to the fact that the tires burst. As you start to slow down, what happens to your rudder? It becomes less effective. Maybe he's not being able to control it with just the nose wheel and needs to get his hand on the tiller to use that tiller to bring the airplane back on the center line. Or maybe he's trying to put the airplane downwind of potential fire. I don't know. Maybe, he knew the right side blew, so he wants to turn a little bit to the left so the wind's blowing the smoke away from the cabin. That's a technique. But honestly, if I'm on fire, if I remember to turn the airplane one way or the other, I mean, that'll be a miracle, because I can only imagine the amount of stress and everything going on with this crew. Kind of the last thing you're thinking about, right? You just want to get the airplane down and stopped and get crash, fire, and rescue to the aircraft. There was a large screen of smoke behind them and the fire on the tires. Yeah, Captain, there's some pictures too. Witness photographs, video recordings, same area of flames appeared to extinguish shortly before the plane came to a stop. Airport firefighting personnel arrived. So here it is at touchdown, no fire. Can't tell if he landed flat or just after landing. Right here, he's locking them up. Showing smoke trailing between 7 and main source. So right here, this is anti-skid, not being anti-skidding. Okay, this is a captain that is under an extreme amount of stress, under the mask, thinks his airplane potentially is on fire, and is getting the airplane stopped as quickly as possible. There's nothing wrong with this, in my opinion. He's doing his job, but this is what you're seeing here. This is skidding tires. This is what happens when anti-skid is in op. Photograph showing the smoke behind. Now, you're landing in Vegas. I don't know what the OAT was that day, but I'm sure it didn't help. It is Las Vegas. So you skid long enough, you lock them up long enough, friction creates heat. Heat will eventually ignite the tire. So now you got a wheel tire. Now, you don't want this. I'm not saying if you land in the emergency electrical configuration, you don't want this, obviously, but it's hard to fault the guy for this, okay? And this is minimal considered what could be happening to the airplane if it is indeed on fire somewhere in the overhead or somewhere in electronics bay. But this is typically what happens when you have anti-skid out and you lock them up. After the airplane stopped, the captain applied the parking brake and instructed the cabin to remain seated. First officer opened the cockpit side window to talk to first responders. So remember, they don't have any radio communications, so they can't get the crash, fire, and rescue on VHF. I don't know if tower, I don't remember in the ATC recording if they said, here, contact tower on this or contact ARF on this frequency. They probably couldn't do it, but this is good thinking here. Open the window, talk to the first responders. They initially reported to the crew that there had been a number 2 right engine fire, which had been extinguished. The flight crew recalled being surprised by this, as there had been no engine fire indications in the cockpit. That's interesting to me. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out more about that as we get some more facts. Again, this is just a prelim report. The flight crew, and you don't see any fire from the right engine, so it almost seems like maybe there was some confusion from airport. They call them ARF, Airport Rescue Fire. What does ARF stand for? ARF. Crash, fire, and rescue, essentially, Ryan, is what ARF is. So it almost seems like there might have been some confusion between them and what they actually saw, too, when the airplane rolled up. The crew reestablished radio comms with the first responders and requested to evacuate the airplane on the runway. They began the emergency evacuation checklist, but ultimately chose not to evacuate after firefighting personnel assured them that the fire was extinguished and the smoke was eliminated and no longer a threat. All passengers deplaned and brought to stairs. Now, what's interesting and is not airport rescue firefighting. Aircraft rescue firefighting? Airport rescue firefighting, yeah. What's not really issued here is I heard through my sources that the main reason they couldn't continue with an evacuation was because of the position of the fire trucks. They were where the slides would have been had they have initiated an evacuation. Now, this is a touchy subject here. It's good to talk about it, good to work through it or verbal process it with you guys, because anytime you initiate or execute an emergency evacuation, source says, I guess we watched the same show, Oscar. Anytime you initiate an emergency evacuation, you can guarantee yourself you are going to have at least 1, maybe a dozen injuries due to the nature of the evacuation process. It's unavoidable. I don't know if there's ever been an evacuation recorded where 0 people were considered hurt. Now, it could just be as simple as rolling an ankle, but you open the door to liability, you open the door to lawsuits, you open the door to a whole bunch of can of worms, okay? So an evacuation is a serious deal, but also the potential of a fire on board is a serious deal. I don't know at this point, are they still smelling the fumes? Let's just play through a scenario. Let's say this whole thing was me and I'm doing this and we land and I still smell the acrid smoke in the airplane. I'm going to initiate an evacuation because you don't mess around with smoke on an aircraft. If you look back, there was it a DC-9? They had the same deal where they actually landed, but the airplane instantly, it was almost like a backdraft effect, just instantly turned to a blaze because of the oxygen levels and however, I don't remember the science behind it. But if you do have an active fire somewhere and you're on the ground, you still need to get off the aircraft. I think it was Air Canada 79. Was it Air Canada 797? I think it was Air Canada. There is a potential to go from everything seems pretty calm to everything is on fire very quickly. Now, let's do that same scenario. We've done all this. We've landed. ARF is outside. They say we don't see any hot spots. There's no fires outside. And I'm not smelling anything. The crew's not smelling anything. Cabin crew's not smelling anything. At that point, I would say it's okay to just stand by. But I'm not letting crash, fire, and rescue go anywhere. In fact, I'm probably having everybody stay in their positions to start an evacuation should we need to. But it's really going to depend on the situation, right? You got to go back to situations are situational. We don't know if the crew still smelled smoke and fumes at this point. We don't know if they wanted to evacuate and the fire rescue advised against it and they didn't. They pretty much inhibited them from evacuating, because you're not going to commence an evacuation if you know crash, fire, and rescue is right outside the doors where you got to pop the slides. Because remember, when you say evacuate, the cabin crew is going to look out the window of their doors. They're going to make sure that it's clear before they actually pop the slide. No smoke, no fumes, none of that. But if there's a fire truck sitting out the window, well, then you're not going to pop the slide onto the fire truck. So it's a touchy situation. We need more information. But I will just tell you from my source says that there was actually a little bit of conflict between wanting to execute the evacuation and the evacuation not commencing. Maybe that'll be detailed thoroughly in in the final report. Again, this is just a prelim, but you also got to keep in mind that some people are going to get hurt when you do emergency evac. People will get hurt, so you really got to weigh the options on that. You really got to weigh the options. Recovered data and checklists. Data messages recovered from the monitoring system indicated that at 4040 fault detected in a fan unit that cools the avionics compartment. That would explain why it's happening up front. Now, we have an avionics smoke fume checklist that you can run. So you have smoke fumes, you have removal of smoke fumes, you have avionics smoke. Those are 3 different checklists that you can do for smoke or fumes in the cockpit. And you actually have another one. You have foul odor removal. So you've got a lot of different checklists in the Airbus that you can run for smoke in the cockpit. It's not just cut and dry. Man, I really wish, I kind of wish we were flying the Fenix after this today, because I really want to dig into these smoke fire checklists again. But we'll look at it too in the fly-by-wire. I might bring out my checklist and actually kind of go over some of the stuff again. But the avionics smoke checklist basically does that. It isolates those fans. And it opens up the overboard. So it puts it in smoke removal, or as you guys know here on the channel, we call it the fart removal mode, right? You basically open the extract, close the intake, and Bernoulli's principle is going to suck all that air out. Same applies if there's smoke in there, right? If there's smoke in the avionics compartment, if you open one side, increase of velocity equals a decrease in pressure, which means that everything inside is going to vent overboard of the aircraft. So that's the smoke removal. The flight data captured most of the flight. However, it stopped recording 9 minutes prior to touchdown due to a loss of electrical power when the electric emergency configuration was established. Cockpit voice recorder captured the entire flight. So you get the CVR the whole way, but you don't get the data recorder. According to the QRH, when the airplane is in the emergency electrical configuration, the wheel brake, anti-skid, and reverse nose wheel steerings among are inoperative due to electrical power available. Right. And that's what I was saying when I got a few minutes ago. It says, if applicable, throw back the emergency electrical configuration to a normal configuration so you get some of these normal systems, so you avoid no anti-skid, you avoid skidding, you avoid tire fire, you avoid blowing the tires. You obviously don't want to blow the tires even if you're in an emergency, but in the grand scheme of things, if I got to choose blowing a tire versus going off the end of the runway, I'm going to choose blowing a tire every day and twice on Sunday, right? So it's just, it's a sticky situation. Smoke fumes avionics smoke checklist includes a provision. I didn't even read this far in the report, but obviously they know what I'm talking about here. A provision to restore electrical systems capability prior to landing to allow for the recovery of some or all the NOP systems. NTSB specialists were assigned to investigate CVR, flight data, ALPA's involved, that's the union, yada yada. Investigation is continuing. There's some more details of the aircraft. Frontier 121. It's a 321-211. That's CFMs, right? Yeah, that's CFMs. Meteorological conditions. Las Vegas, 37 degrees Celsius. So what's that Fahrenheit? So like I said, 37C is not going to help you when you're skidding the tires, right? That's really going to increase the heat. And that's 37 OAT. That runway is baking in the sun, and the tires are skidding. It's going to get real hot real quick. Wind speed and gust. Doesn't really say. I guess nil. There's no winds. I'm not seeing any wind report here. Crew injuries, none. Aircraft damage is unknown. They obviously need new tires. They probably need new brakes. They need some new avionics fans. So I'm just curious, what was the year of that airplane? I think it said in the very beginning. It doesn't say how old the aircraft was. Anyway. But yeah. What do you guys think? I think that's pretty... I'll reset the drone cam now. Let's go back in here. How we doing? We're just getting ready to start our approach prep. But 2015 construction date. So yeah, so I mean, shoot, it's not even 10 years old yet, right? Not even 10 years old yet on that 321. So there was a lot going on with that airplane. There's no doubt about it. There was a lot going on, and the task saturation was real. But all things considered, I think they did a heck of a job getting it down, getting it stopped. No one's hurt. Will the crew just go back to work the next day? Well, they probably were asked to do their next leg, but at that point, you just say, no, I'm not going anywhere. They would understand. Now, that particular instance, they obviously were interviewed by the NTSB. What's going to happen, Flight Sim School, is after that, they're immediately going to be taken. They're going to be met with representation from both the FAA, NTSB, and the union, most likely. And they're going to have to go take a P test. That's the first thing that's going to happen. They got to go get drug tested. Then they'll either be, since there was really nothing crazy, the airplane wasn't severely damaged or anything like that, they'll probably say, hey, we're going to be in contact with you. Or they may have said, hey, we're just going to get your immediate debrief now, and then you're on your way. Maybe they flew the next day, maybe not. I would tell them that I'm not going to go. I'm not flying next. Now, my emergency that I had in the A320 when we diverted, they asked us, after we spoke with the union, they said, hey, do you guys want to fly it out? Are you guys okay continuing? And we discussed it as a crew, and then I said, look, since it was way less serious than a fire on board, we had an electrical issue, but I said, look, if we get one ding or one click, we had a series of clicks. If you remember, you probably heard the podcast when I talked about my electrical emergency. I said, if we hear one of those, we're coming right back. That's it. I'm done. Now, there's always going to be circumstances around your situation that you have to deal with. In my particular situation, we were at an offline airport where we have a full load of passengers, and there's really, if you elect to not fly, you're really stranding everybody and everything. Now, in some cases, that's needed. You need a mental lapse. In our specific situation, we felt that we were still fit to continue on. We had maintenance handle the procedures and everything, and we were fine, and everything worked out. But in a situation like this with Frontier, if I was the captain on that flight, I would say, no chance. I'm going home. You guys let me know. I'd say I'm going home. I'd call my chief pilot, but I'm going home, and I'll be back in 2 days. Like, if I got to call out sick, mark me sick, do whatever you got to do. But I need some time to just clear the head, right? But you don't want to take too much time off, because then it's kind of like riding a bike, right? If you have an incident and or you fall off a bike and you don't get right back on that bike, now you're just going to be constantly fearful of getting back on the bike. I've had a similar situation. Turned out engine ingested something, got 2 compressor stalls and rubber smell. Ooh, it's a good call. You have to assume the worst case scenario with fire. T-Well, you're absolutely right. You always have to assume the worst case scenario when you're dealing with fire and smoke, because that's the greatest threat to the aircraft. So, yeah, that's a big one. Ingested something and then you get that rubber smell. I thought after an emergency you were pulled from the sequence for safety. Not necessarily, Jeremy. Not necessarily. I know a guy literally took off out of Vegas. They shut down an engine. They landed. They got him a new airplane, and he flew back to Dallas. So it's situations are situational. Now, it's totally in your prerogative, and the company would understand. I would think any decent company would understand that if you are in an emergency situation, you're obviously probably going to not be fit to fly. Every time you sign the release, you're signing saying that you are fit for duty. That is not only sleep-wise, but that is you are mentally ready for duty. That means you are physically fit for duty. So it's not just about I've had enough sleep the night before. It's a multitude of things. So if your situation, if you feel fine, then there's really nothing stopping you from continuing on. They worked the very next day. They did. That crew worked the next day. I mean, I believe it. I don't think they have a Vegas base. So they probably wanted to go home. You know, you go to the bar and, or not necessarily the bar, but I would say you go to the hotel, you go debrief. Typically go to the bar to debrief, not necessarily go drink, but like you just go get some food. You just sit down. You just kind of chill out, right? Go to a restaurant, but it's easier to just go down to the hotel restaurant, just chill, debrief. But you got to find that balance. Is this sounds update for all MD11 owners? Yes, Flight Sim Enjoyer. It is out and up for everybody. How's the weather for you? I'm getting slapped around now, about 175 miles from Caglo. You know, we've had some interesting waves in Fien. Right now, though, everything seems to be okay. We are 133 from Caglo. So you're behind us? Yeah, see, we're getting slopped around here a little bit. Look at this. Yeah, we're definitely getting bumped around here a little bit. As a passenger, I hope the pilots assumed the worst and proceeded with the most caution. Yeah, Oscar. Yeah. That's what they did. If you read that report, that's really what that crew did. Now, you can sit here and say, well, they should have done this or they should have done that. But what they really did is they assumed the worst and executed the rest of the flight as if it was worst case scenario. Where's my... How can I reset my cruise altitude in here? Is it on the NIT? There we go. Recruise it to 400 there. I overtook you? 3 engines for the win, baby. 3 engines for the win. Let's go back to our Pakistani playlist. I actually like that song. It's a good vibe. I'm doing 8-4, yeah. You're doing 8-0? Oh yeah, we'll overtake you at 8-0. I think the worst I've ever had as a passenger RTO in a CRJ 550 at 6 a.m. Lady across the aisle hit the seat in front of her and broke her nose. Yeah, RTOs are no joke, man. Told you about the RTOs. My buddy's headset's flown off. I had an RTO. When you have an RTO, you no longer ever think about the airplane not being able to stop. I mean, it is impressive. It's very rare that you get to feel maximum braking. True maximum. Even a max auto brake is not maximum braking. RTO is maximum. And until you feel the RTO, it's pretty good. Look at this. This is another bug here. Looks like the strobe light's flashing through the leading edge. Uninstalling. Oh, look, we got a contrail back there. Who's over there? What's another MD11? He's trying to overtake us. That's not going to happen. I don't think I can do 8.5. I won't let us. We're pinned. Let's hope Green Dot does a video on it once the final report is out for some future in-flight entertainment. Ooh, I'm not sure if he will because it's not really a... Well, he's done others that aren't crashes. He might. I mean, that would be a good one to do, no doubt about it. I hope now that he's got an MD11, though, I hope he'll do some more MD11 incidences or... there's another one I was thinking of that I wish he would do. I'm drawing a blank on it now. Yes, the tool I have. Did one, the first one I ever did was a 190 in Halifax, Canada. Whew, brother. That was the first one I ever felt. Yeah, my buddy did one in Vegas. Their headsets flew off their heads. Alright, it's time to start thinking about the approach here. I put waypoint, no data. So the really only way in here, let me look at the rough altitudes here. I'm trying to find where I had my altitude references. If you guys want to see this approach, here I'll link it to you. This is kind of the references. Now, obviously an MD11 is not really a great idea to take in here, but I think we got to get down to 240, I want to say, initially here. So Caglo will start the right turn, and then Bungie. We could almost go Bungie now, but I don't want to. I don't know if we can go direct Bungie. Should we cut the corner and go Bungie? Flight level 240. This is mostly a sound update. The sound update is, my opinion, the first iteration of the sounds in this airplane were really, really bad. It ruined the immersion for me. With the current update, it's much better. I've actually semi-enjoyed flying this bird around. It still needs more, still needs some work, but I want to love it, man. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this livery, too. Look at the grime. I want to love this bird. We're going to keep giving it chances. We're going to keep giving it chances. It does help. I will say the sounds from the cockpit view are pretty good, man. They're pretty good from the cockpit. Have you ever had a 60-knot wind shear on approach? Czar, Rubes. Thanks for the 40 Czar, man. Appreciate you. I don't know if I've had a 60-knot wind shear on approach, but I've definitely had wind shear on approach before. I had a wind shear that we could not climb out of. That one was pretty wild. I talked about that in the podcast. One of the few times I was really actually scared in the airplane. Couldn't climb. But I don't know if I had a 60-knot shear on approach. That's pretty good. Now, I've landed in 50-knot winds. I've done that. But mostly crosswind. So right up there, like 40... It was like 44 knots or something. So... Yeah, Infian, I'm getting those same up and downs, man. We're getting a lot of that. Yeah, we're getting a lot of vertical speed deviations. Progress. I'm trying to see if we can cut at 42. I just don't know if we can cut over and still be in position here. We might be able to cut over. They'll save some time for sure. I've experienced mountain waves. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So BIREB at 17.4 is the peak. I think we need to come down to 24. Oh, this is interesting. Descent before Delta. APU on. Bulk landing briefing, checklist, and deceleration. And that's off of BIREB to Delta. I think we can go direct BIREB from here. Let's just wait a little bit till we get just a little bit further from these peaks here, and then we're going to cut the corner to BIREB. We can go about another minute or so here. Let me get my water. Where's my water? Hold on. All right. Getting a little parched after our NTSB briefing. Those are kind of neat, though. I like doing that, actually. Might have to do that again. But that one was... I would love to read that in the Fenix so we can kind of walk through what they were doing, what they were seeing up front. Because unless you really know what it's like up there, or at least if you know what you can expect, what they're seeing, it's pretty intense. APU only is if you don't have a hover cart. Oh, because you can't start it. Is it because you can't start the engine with a hover, or you can't start the APU when you're on the ground or something? Why would you have an APU on before descent? Off route is 215. Okay, let's cut it. Right abeam SGR. We're gonna go direct Bungie. Direct 2. We're in the turn. Look at that beauty. Gosh, I want to love this airplane. When can we get Boris sounds? We need Boris sounds, and we need some work on the engine model. The modeling of the engine is a killer. And the wings. Wing model. Not the leading edge. Trailing edge wing modeling. Engine modeling. I think the rest of the model looks good. But you can see, like, look, I'm going to show you. I mean, the model looks good, but maybe it's the texturing, or I don't know what it is, but it's just flat and plasticky looking. This looks good, and this kind of looks too flat and P3D ported. I don't know what all these jagged edges are on here, but the dirt helps. The dirt helps with it. Those winglets look huge. Are they that big? They almost look too big. If no huffer and APU does not start, you got to divert. Wow. Oh, you check if you have an operational APU before dropping below 215 if you have no huffer cart. Wow. Well, we'll start the APU. Just be realistic. Be hardcore about it. They're over 7 feet tall. That's wild. They just look so wide, you know? Did a few C checks on MD11s, unfortunately. Why were they a pain to do a C check on? All right, we're turning over the hills now. Oh, look at the bottom. Look at this. Look at the dirt. This is what I mean when I talk about dirty liveries. Good night. Gotta love it. All right, we're going direct 2. That gets us out of some of that headwind too. Look at that. 96 knot crosswind. Let's redirect it one more time. Direct Bungie. There we go. Kind of get us back on path there. A good friend of mine was retired at United 737 Captain. Said he had a mountain wave so bad his speed was hovering just above VS with both engines firewalled. And he said that was the only time he was scared. Oh yeah. Yeah, my buddy when he was flying the 7-3, they got a shaker. They got a shaker going over the Rockies, man. Mountain wave was so bad. Sometimes you got no other way but down. You got to descend. Let's do a quick cabin tour here real quick. I want to actually check this out. So, here's our nice little Pakistani seat covers. I love it. Is this the lav or wannabe lav? No, just the bulkhead. Oh, I think it is a lav, yeah. All right, first class. Wait, this song again? Can't be right. Hold on. Let's go back to this song. This is a good song, though. Oh, it's the song that we listened to, but this one has a voice to it. Let's skip forward. This seems kind of Pakistani. Ooh, we got 3 selections. We've got dark brew, regular, and decaf for the serial killers. Whoa, look at the reflection. Oh, that's cool. Through the window off the pylon. Toilet water brew. Exactly. This emergency exit light here. Or is that the... What is that? Is that the light for the emergency exit? It must be like an emergency floor lighting right here. Decaf on a plane should get you ejected. I agree. I like it. Oh, we got a little ventilation up here too. What's this? Mold? Ooh. Ooh. Alright. No passengers on board this bird. Now the third one is a pumpkin spice latte. Look at this. Look at this freaking cabin though. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 252? Man. Now I also like this livery too. If you come out here and you look at the it's kind of jagged. That might be a livery thing here. Never mind. Is black mold worth of 7,700? Worthy of squawking 7,700? You're fine. You're fine. Nothing to worry about. Here's another emergency exit light here. It looks like row 21. Back in the 252 configuration still. Gosh, I wish we had an L1011. You know what? Pretty decent windows. Not the best I've seen, but they're not terrible. I really wish we had an L1011. Can you imagine? Straight wing, 3-holer. Love it. Now, I'm no expert, but these seats do not look very sturdy. They kind of look like the Blade Runner situation. Middle of 5 is crazy. I know. Could you imagine this seat right here, dude? Middle of 5. And then the TV, the TV, it's like, they don't have any TVs here. Yeah, you can't even see the TV. You're rubbernecking over to the left. Ugh. Right here, worst seat in the house. Middle of 5 on a bulkhead so your seat doesn't recline and you actually have black mold on your tray. That's actually disgusting. You have black mold on your tray table. Middle of 5. What row is this? 33. A, B, C, D, E. 33E on an MD11 is a no-go. This is a no-go. Golly. Oh, got the poopers. Vacant. It's okay. This airplane doesn't need any more cabin modeling with the amount of frames I'm already getting knocked on. So we do have the high efficiency pylons on. Do you guys like those, or do you like the old school ones? Kind of like the old school ones better. I flew on my honeymoon to Hawaii with the 5 center rows, standby, middle 2 seats, back row with all I carry on under our feet. It was a long flight. Man. I flew to Hawaii on the L10, Al. A window seat on the way there, and I want to say I was middle seat. Maybe not middle of 5, probably like close to middle of 5, but I was next to my sister. But I pissed her off so much that then we actually switched, and I sat on the 2 side. At least the pylons are on, not like Southwest. Hey, Key 6, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. Hold on, is this a phone call from the tire place? I dropped my wife's tire off at the... Got a nail in it. Nope, just political spam calls. Get about 20 of those a day. Alright. Nice wide galley. Ooh. More coffee selections back here. Where's the grinder, though? Let me... Marble countertops. I like it. 3 jump seats. Beautiful. Make our walk all the way back to the front. I asked Just Flight to make an L10. They said no. I know it. Nobody's doing it, man. I think the L10 is dead with Captain Sim. Can somebody port over the Captain Sim L1011 to Microsoft Flight Sim? The Captain Sim L1011 was pretty good. I can't believe no one's made it. It's just, it sucks, man. Gone are the days where good airplanes are in development now. It's just all modern. Fly-by-wire, magenta line, high efficiency geared turbofan. I want some diesel 8s, man. I want an L10, a diesel 8. Yeah. Problem is access to an L10. Well, but they already have it, Gus. Like, they have all the specs, right? And Captain Sim already made an L1011 years ago. FSS 72 and Just Flight are 2 of my favorites. Yes. Man, Just Flight F-28. We got to fly that again, dude. F-28's a great airplane. Kansas City has an L-10. And there is still one L-10 flying around. It's NASA, right? I saw the Samaritan's Purse DC-8 fly to Richmond this morning on an NTSB exchange, and it made me nostalgic. Nice. My Air Force JROTC commander back in high school said in 1980 said the L-1011 was going to be the best airliner for long haul. Yeah. There's plenty of videos of the L-1011 out still. You can look at them on YouTube. I mean, just take this airplane and make some model tweaks. You need to redo the 3D. The files are probably Gmax. Oh, that's true. I mean, but surely, with modern technology, Gus, somebody should be able to get it out. I mean, you can go to a museum and scan it, right? Like, doesn't Phoenix go and scan an airplane? They get 3D models that way? Look out here. Make sure there's no fire trucks inhibiting your evacuation. Step down. Step up into the flight deck. Slam the door. Lock bomb tech out. Hang out here on the jump seat. We're going to start down. All right. No more messing around. No more Pakistani, what is this called again? Pakistani reaction is over. Time to get serious. Time to get serious. We're getting bumped around here too, so let's go ahead and set, go ahead and set, why, oh, the click spots need work too. They drive me nuts. Let's do a prof down to 290.
Altitude.
Why are we doing that? I'm just going to do that. Idle clamp 290. Oh my goodness. I'm going to select speed. Slow it up to 80. 80, 290. Very aggressive autopilot inputs. All right, as we get ready for the approach, we're going to turn the seatbelt sign on. We're going to leave the no smoking sign off. That's the Skardu SOP. No smoking off. Seatbelts on. Let me get flight recorder ready. And let's also get G's ready. All right, G's is up. And let me reset you. Alright, G's is up and ready. Good. We'll go back to full screen for now, though. Recording is also ready. Sim sounds are coming up. Time check, 1:30. Beautiful. Only tri-jet is a Falcon 50. Ooh, you know, TFTI did a Falcon 50, right? Zoom this in. 34.9 descending. Let's go down to... No, not vertical speed. I didn't know that actually worked on the Bravo. That's cool. Vertical speed 240. Idle clamp to 24. Once we get below... actually, we have both generators, so we can do a generator-assisted start on the APU. Let's go ahead and power the APU up. Ooh. interesting. I can hear the APU spooling up. Look at the scratches on the cell. I love that. 24 seems a little low. Let's make it 31. Kind of coming in from a weird angle here. We're going to Delta. Yeah, we got to get away from this terrain right there. Why isn't my terrain popping up yet? Is it because we're too high? Skardu traffic of Pakistan 357. About 3 miles from Delta. We're setting up for a visual 1-4 right approach through the valley. Skardu traffic. Flight of Live, you got a minus 33? No way. Videos or it didn't happen. I'm just going to be happy if we can make the turn here on making that 180. I remember going to see Air Transat L-10s 11 a few times when I was young, shortly before they retired. Never got a chance to fly on one. Yeah. L-10, I'm pretty sure the L-10-11 was the first wide body I flew on. Pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure it was that AT-8 in Hawaii. Heapler was able to model the F-14 without using actual F-14 flight dynamics. Of course, we still have real-life F-14s in museums. True, Tom. Very true. Joanne Jacobs, thank you for the 70 Czar, my man. Appreciate you. Thank you for that very kind super chat, my friend. Yes, indeed. We're going to need the safe landings, man. Appreciate you. Very kind, sir. All right, we're going to continue to slow down here. We need to slow to... Seven, 6. From IREP inbound. Yeah, we need to keep coming down. Yeah, let's keep coming down. 240.
Altitude.
Idle clamp. Down we go. Let's go in here to our init. Let's see. Takeoff approach. We're going to have to do a flaps 50 land. 144, 139. Elevation is 7,200, so we're going to be about 9,000 or 10,000 when we do the 180, hopefully. Min clean speed is 193. Min clean is 193. Oh my goodness, look at that view, chat. Into Skardu we go. I love flying in here. First wide body was a Cactus 330. Have to wait less than a month to run on that one. My first wide was the A300 B2 200. Ooh, that's a good one, Gus. We're gonna hustle up here. A little bit of speed brake here. Let's hustle down. What's the altitude we always cross over Skardu at? 19,000? Where's my reference? I think if we cross over, it's like the one altitude you want to make sure you hit. CF, SD, NDB, BIREP. Ground speed, hard ground speed. Keep descending, keep descending. Kachura Lake. I think it's right around 19,000. Why are we speeding up? Why are we speeding up? We're way too fast now. What's up with that? Speed brakes out. Let's go 19 or 0. All right, idle clamp down to 19. Now we are going from BIREB to SD, and then we're just going to be visual. 155 at SD, so we're behind the 8 ball here. 15.5. Speed brakes are out. Let's get the rest of our lights on. No logo required. There she is, chat. There's Skardu down in the valley. Oh, I love this thing. Get my heading bug ready. Let's go ahead and get slats out. We need to scroll dial a flap. We forgot to do that after takeoff. Needs to be set at 15, right? Dial a flap set 15. And we'll go ahead and select flaps 15 now. I thought it was, I don't know what the altitude is for flap extension. I know in the bus it's 210. Speed brake retracted. We will not, yeah, we can't forget the spoilers. But we need to hustle down here. Even though it's going to yell at me, I'm going to go a little spoiler action here. Just to help us down to meet our window here. I think if we cross at 19, we'll be okay. So we got kidney 1, kidney 2, and a kidney 3, right? We got a turn between 2 and 3. I think if we make that turn just a little above 11 or 12,000, we should be good. Field elevation is 7,000, so 2,000 above would be 9. 8,500 would be a traditional 1,500 feet above. Dead stick from here, that would be spicy. Right of 19, let's go ahead and hit magic barrel ref. We're still not below transition. Where is, I thought transition was like 19. There it goes, 18.5. All right, we're 3033 set. We're on the descent. 15.5 is selected. We're looking good. We're 190 on the speed. I will go ahead and stow the speed brakes and we will arm them. Hopefully we won't need them for the rest of the flight. We're going to go manual braking on this one. Oh, we're going to be legal, Al. We're going to be legal, but I don't know if it's going to be... if we're going to be able to use the airplane again. Flaps 50 in this thing. Barn doors. Why do we keep accelerating? Why do you keep accelerating? 180 on the speed. We're at flaps 15. We're looking good. We got plenty of maneuvering constraints. Let's go ahead and select the heading mode now. Heading selected, 144. We're going to keep the descent going. Let's select 11,000. Mins are 8,300 when you finish the base turn. You're talking about turning back in? That sounds about right. We're 180, we're flaps 15, we're looking good. We're in the valley, we are committed after passing over SD, which is the Skardu NDB. Got here just in time, the sun is up nice and high. Oh, look at that. There's that clipper down there. Skardu traffic, Pakistan 357 overhead, Sierra Delta NDB, beginning the circle for 14 right, Skardu traffic. Perfectly on altitude, we're looking good. Let's start a little bank angle check to the left. Nope, I was twisting the wrong digits there. Do I have to pull that every time? That's unfortunate. Look at those views. Yeah, we're a little light on the likes today, Chad. Can we get, maybe let's bump those likes up a little bit here? 400 watching, 236 likes. We still haven't been able to do a full TO takeoff yet because you guys have been light on the like button. Let's go ahead and smash the like button for Skardu. Who wants to take a 380 into Skardu? Keep it on that heading bug here. Keep descending down. Now the question is, I think I can go flaps 28 here. Let's go flaps 28. Help us come down a little bit here, get a little more drag. Dimitri H, welcome to Commercial Pilot, man. I don't like having to pull the heading bug every time. trying to give myself a little extra room here. Alright, so there's kidney 1, kidney 2, kidney 3. We got to make the turn in between the two. I might just have to hand fly this sucker. Let's go ahead and just hand fly it. We're going to go ahead and go tiller cam on. We're going to go ahead and reconnect the Bruner because I don't think I can hand fly this or with the autopilot. Let's see if the Bruner will do it here. Having a pool each time is not... Yeah. Okay, autopilot's off. I have control. Flight director's off. Give me the bird. We got flaps 28. We still got auto throttle on. We're looking good. We got to make the turn through here. 11,000 is set for a reference, but let's go ahead and set... let's just set 8,500. That'll be a reference for me to know that's 1,500 feet above field. So 8,500 is set. We're just going to keep a nice steady descent here. We're looking good. Flaps 28, gear is up. We're looking good. We're going to have to go ahead and get the bank angle check in here. Get a little aft pressure as we tighten up the turn. Oh, look at that. Just like the thumbnail, chat. See, you guys keep thinking that I have clickbait thumbnails. I try hard to not clickbait them. That looks pretty much like a thumbnail, at least on the countdown. Bank angle check right through here between kidney 2 and kidney 3. We're passing 12,000 feet. We're looking good. It's actually handling really nice. It's handling really nice at this high altitude. Probably can shallow out the descent just a hair here. Skardu traffic Pakistan 357 between kidney 2 and kidney 3, turning inbound to join left downwind, runway 14 left, Skardu traffic. 11.5, just going to shallow out here just a little bit. Now we can go ahead and start dropping back down. Let's go ahead and start slowing up because this is where my only concern on this approach is coming up. And it's going to be the 180 turn in the valley. We barely got through with the triple. So we don't have hardly any room to misjudge the 180 or else you're going to go right into the mountain. In the words of Goose, watch the mountains. Rest in peace, Goose. Oh, recording needs to be on. Dang it, I wish I had recording on between kidney 2 and 3. Alright, let's shallow out the descent here a little bit. There we go, let's hold that. Alright, so we are at flaps 28. We got 2 notches left. Can I go 35 with the gear up? I don't think so. I don't think I can go 35 with the gear up. Yep, recording's on now. Alright, out of 10,000 feet. So here we go. This is where it's going to get real tight. What's our final VREF again? 44 VAP.
2,500.
Alright, 2,500 feet above. We're 9,800. We're joining left downwind. 14 right. Oh, look at the traffic right off there. Oh, that's so cool. Alright, so this is where it gets real spicy. Let's go ahead and select 150 on the speed. Let's pull it. Let's go flaps 35. I think she's going to yell at us here. Yep. Gear's coming down. We need that flaps 35. Gear's coming down. Don't want to get too low here. So let's shallow out. We're about 9,300. Stabilize our motion. We could probably do 153. Let's get 153 on the speed. I'm going to cheat a little bit to the right here because we're going to take all the room we can to make this 180. This is where you get paid the big bucks. Big bucks. Might have to turn the jib whiz off. I don't remember where the jib whiz is. So we're going to have to make the turn. Oh, don't climb, don't climb, don't climb. Bring it out wide. And not yet, not yet, not yet. And crank it over. Here we go. Bank angle check to the left. We're committed. Let's roll it in. As you roll, a little back pressure because you're going to want to drop that nose. Oh, look at the buildings down there.
1,000.
All right, keep that turn coming. Bank angle check hard left, hard left. More stabilizer trim. See that nose wanted to drop? Looking good. Oh, we're looking real good. We're looking real good. Here comes 1,000 above touchdown. We'll go ahead and keep that descent rate in there. A little less on the descent rate. A little more stab trim. .144 was the final speed. Let's go ahead and select 144. Flaps 50 coming in. Now this is where it's going to get real tight windows. 144 on the speed. Flap 50 is set.
1,000.
I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the auto thrust. I have the thrust levers.
Stabilizer.
144 on speed. Oh, that is perfect. Are you kidding me? That's the best approach circle we've done yet. All right. Watch the speed. So with flaps 50, you almost don't even bring the power to idle. You just kind of float her down. That was the best circle we've done yet. On speed, we're looking good. Correcting a little off center line here. Let's see if we can get back on the center line. Gust of wind there.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Oh my gosh. Oh, hold on to it. Spoilers. Reverse green. D-cell, baby. That's the Skardu Professional. That's the best landing I've ever done in Skardu. That might be the best landing I've done in the MD80, or whatever the hell this is, MD11. 70 knots, manual braking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Skardu. Gosh, this airplane is so capable. I love the MD11. I just love it for its capability, man. It's such a beast. I actually felt better in that approach than I did with the 777 because I knew I had all the power in the world. It's a little sketchy coming around to that final 180, but let's go ahead and exit here. Skardu traffic, Pakistan 357 clearing, runway 14 right, over to the ramp, Skardu traffic. We're not going to pay attention to the clipper because we're accidentally going to clip the clipper. Sorry, buddy. Well, thank you, sir. We're going to go to the, I think they can only fit like 2 320s at a time. Flaps are coming up. Speed brakes retracted. We're looking good. That was epic. That was epic fun, y'all. We got all these buses in our way here. Can we make the turn here? Let's see. Okay, he's still on downwind, so we got time. Let's make this turn. Mickey G, this is my dude. This livery single-handedly might save the MD11 for me. The amount of dirt on this thing is epic, man. Can't see you, dude. I gotta go more to the right. No, we're good there. Brake set. All right. Engines are on. Well, I guess we'll leave it for replay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Skardu. Let's get a screenshot with that clipper in the background. Right about there. Juice. Let's see where this guy's at. Is he on final? Oh, he's making the turn right now. Oh, it looks like he's going to hit the mountain. That guy's way out there. Let's run out here, see this guy's final approach. Where'd he go? Did he disconnect? Did he disconnect? Did he hit the mountain? Oh no, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. Whew. That was wild fun. Time for the 380. You know what? You know what makes a difference on all that, chat? Having full-size levers so you can have precise throttle control. I'm telling you, it sounds a little crazy if you don't really understand like moment arm and things like that, but it actually does make it easier to control precise movements of the thrust levers when you have a longer full-size quadrant. It makes a huge difference. And on this approach, if you don't have control of your speed, you're not going to make the turn. You just can't do it. It's too tight in there. Where'd this guy go? Oh, there he is. Oh, he looks super low. Oh, it's another MD11. Let's juice up the lighting for him. Okay, let's make it a little bit juicier for him. Let's see how he does here. So there's the 1,000 footers. And we were legal too. Little bit long, but we were definitely legal.
Skardu traffic, nomadic 311, finishing out downwind, 14 right.
Oh boy. Only Gustavo is the CFIT specialist. That's true. Gustavo's the one that literally went straight into the hillside in the mountains of Colombia. Maybe we need to do a Gustavo rescue stream. Should we do that? What airport will we be flying into, AJ? Oh, I forget it was that really small one where the ATRs go, I think, right? So if we can go back there, we could do a Gustavo recovery flight. Can't give me too much credit for the landing. It was the work of a professional. I think the Blackbird controls help me. Where's this guy landing? Oh, he's landing on 14 right. Oh, all right. He's going for the skin. Maybe he doesn't have the scenery. I think without the scenery, you don't have 14 right. You got 14 left. Looks pretty low, though. You know what? We could take the Rescue King Air Team, Vodka. You got a point. We could take the King in there on rescue. Oh! Slew mode. We have another slewer in the chat. Oh my gosh, he barely cleared that. Did he just land on the threshold? I don't know. That was suspect. That was suspect.
Skardu traffic, nomadic 311, final runway 14 right. Skardu.
Oh, we have another one on final. Oh, we do. We do. It's the nomadic. All right, we'll watch nomadic and then we'll watch our replay. Peter DR, yeah, he is on Discord. If you're at the ramp, you can just taxi through me. I can't even see what's going on over there. I was watching the replays. That was definitely sus landing. I think it was sus. Uh-oh, what do we got here? Well, I gotta check something. So my buddy just texted me, said, looks like Spirit's furloughing another 300 pilots. That's no bueno. Where'd this guy go? Ooh. There he comes. Oh, it's a 320. He's got this. 320 is a piece of cake, man. Let's go full screen cam. I mean, 320 probably cut the power from way back there. I'm in the Colombian mountains with mi parcero something. Gus rescue mission. We're going to wait for 24 because it'll be better GA flying in 2024. All right. There he comes, nomadic. Wish it was a 7.5. What is that? Yeah, that's a 320. Okay. The paint job threw me off. It looks like that Delta wavy gravy. Oh, is that a bounce? Oh. Center line, center line, center line, center line. He's just going to wheelie all the way down. He's doing aerodynamic braking. Oh, I should leave the camera over there. Hold on. Let me leave the camera over here. Let's watch that replay. That looked like a bounce to me. That looked like a bounce to me, nomadic. All right. Let's watch ours. Go ahead and disconnect the camera. We'll disconnect from my Veo Premium. We will go back to the airplane. We will hit the replay. Disconnect the yoke from spazzing out here. Yeah. Yoke is off. Good deal. Gear is down. Flaps are coming out. Speed it forward. I'll leave the last one for the end. Let's go right before the final turn. Let's go right here. In the turn. Yep, we got it. All right, here we go. Yeah, Grant. Normally, it's if you look at the chat box, I'll pin it before we start. Fly to Live left the proof for -33 in the Discord. We'll see about that. All right, here comes Flaps 50. Here come the barn doors. Look at this. Look at the Flaps 50 on the MD11. Oh, it's so cool. That's literally barn doors hanging down. Absolutely love it. Got the shadow right there. Oh yeah, those flaps are dirty, Brian. Those are dirty. Look at that. Look at that. That's so epic. I love the scenery here. This is the most scenic place I think we've flown to. This is just, I don't know how else you beat it. I mean, Pero is cool, but this just looks so much more dramatic, doesn't it? So much more dramatic. The crystal clear, snow melted river. They have extra special curry for flavor. Now this is, I think, without a doubt, my best Flaps 50 landing I've done. Oh, I can see the nose. That's cool. Oh yeah. That's gonna look sweet. That's gonna look sweet. Let's pause it. Let's bring it back. Let's go outside drone cam. Let's see how this is here. That Flap 50, you really, Really got to be easy on the power reduction. Got to be easy on that reduction. Oh. Oh, that's a juicer. That's a juicer. Definitely legal. All the above. If we had smoke, it'd be better. Little tire smoke. I'll take that. I will take that. Bang on the center line. I mean, there's something about that profile that just looks so good. Alright. Well, I'll let you guys watch one full one coming in here. This will be pretty cool. I'll give you a full setup of the approach. And it's going to wrap this one up. Yeah, there's definitely an herp right there. Pink vodka for the smoke. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me on this, what is it? What is today? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday morning here as we fly our Skardu MD11. I had fun. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something on that preliminary report from the NTSB. I think we'll look at, let's see if I can find a couple more of those. That's kind of interesting to look through that. But that one was particularly of interest to me just because of how recent it was, and obviously it's the same airplane that I fly. So we're going to be back later this evening in the fly-by-wire as we send it off in hopes of the A380 releasing at a decent hour. And then, I don't know, maybe if we get like 1,000 likes, we'll do a 380 in the Skardu. So if this stream can eventually ever hit 1,000 likes, then we will do a Skardu 380 flight. But until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I will see you in a couple hours for that fly-by-wire stream as we look into some night operaciones. All right. Y'all have a good rest of your day. I'm V1. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you.